What's going on, everybody? It's 7:01 on a Friday night. This is the Functional Gentleman. We're your hosts, Roy Gravis, Bucky Pender. No John Marble in Producer's Corner, but we do have very special guests. Ryan McGee himself, the man, the myth, the legend. We talk about him pretty regular on this show.
Yes.
He is in the house tonight, finally, after much persuasion. Welcome to you, sir.
Thank you. Glad to be here in person.
Fantastic.
Yes, we are excited to have you.
Yes. Are we on the YouTube, too? Did you
Yeah,
get both
we're
of
on-
them?
we're
We got
on-
both of them up. Fantastic.
We're going on both.
Nice.
I just want to make sure we
have
we
volume.
Are good.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, make sure we got sound.
If anybody's out there,
That's always a tough one with us. We never know if we have sound or not.
so
Sometimes.
just keep it rolling. I'm gonna
Okay, you can keep
flip
it rolling.
over.
So we know about some of the weeks. My week, make sure we got sound. Okay, we got sound.
We got
We're good.
sound,
Yes,
guys.
got sound. Fantastic. Wow, that's a big screen.
Look at us.
Man, I
right.
need to get some color. Like I look.
We're good to go.
I look white.
Why are you the
Like,
whitest one on the set?
I don't know. I look super white.
We all look pasty.
I look
Yeah, a little
super
bit.
white.
It's fine. It's
But
fine.
Yeah. So everybody's had a pretty good week, from what I understand. We
Yeah,
had a little
not
chat
terrible.
pre-show, but other than that, everything's good. Everything's
Yes.
good.
Yeah,
You're
everything's good. Yeah.
I'm making it.
You're making it. You
I'm on,
look
I'm
like
on pain meds.
yeah. You're pulling the Poor Brothers like
Yeah.
I did. That was a fun show because
Yeah.
I was on painkillers and muscle relaxers for that
Right.
one. Yes, I
makes it a little tougher.
I had a lower back issue that day, and man, I tell you, that was the funnest episode I think I've done. Like,
Plus, we were drinking a lot.
Yes,
so-
Yes, plus we had a few
plus we
drinks.
had a
We were
few
drinking.
drinks.
Yeah.
Speaking of few drinks, we got some interesting stuff on the table.
We do. We have all
tonight.
kinds of stuff
Yeah.
on the
We got
table.
some all kind of good stuff. But first, as always, we like to start with the smoke of the week.
Yes.
The
Yes.
smoke of the week is provided by Mr. Ryan McGee. Thank you for this, by the way. I'm so excited
we're
to
all
look
pretty
forward to
excited
this
about
one.
this one.
This is the Black Label Trading Company Tiger Lily, which is one of 3 tigers in the Tiger series. The other 2 are the Neon Tiger and the Khan, which is named after Shere Khan from the Jungle Book.
Oh, well, hot dang.
That's why they're all tigers. And plus, I figured I kind of feel this was a little appropriate, being as our Fighting Silsby Tigers are playing in Waller
Right.
Yes,
tonight.
they
So
are playing.
That's right. Go Tigers.
yes,
That's
go
right.
Tigers. And go LSU, too, by
Yeah,
the way. I
yeah.
know you're a big
Yeah,
LSU
I
guy.
am.
So
I am.
we can
I
get,
am.
I know you're not going to
So
say it.
is Blackworks a fairly large company?
They're not. They're actually a
Because
small.
I had never heard of it until.
Yeah.
kinda-
Until
Yeah.
Roy smoked a couple of them. And
Did
so-
you?
So Black Works and Black Label Trading are basically the
okay.
same company.
Okay.
Same company.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just they're more, from what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, they're more higher end cigars go under the Black Works Studio banner,
Right.
where their kind of average cigars go under the Black Label Trading
That's right.
banner.
That's
Okay.
right. That's right.
So
Low
And is
end,
there-
low end, high
And
end.
is
Yeah.
there a significance to the Tiger? Is it like the year of the Tiger? Is it just something they chose?
So this was a factory only cigar up until 2022. In 2022, they decided to release the Tigers into the U.S. market just to get some traction out
Right.
there, get their different blends, if you will, out in the market.
Okay.
And then at the end of this year, these
That's
go
it.
back to only being able to be bought at the factory on the factory tour.
It's interesting to me how they do
the factory tours and
thing
yeah,
like I
it's-
mean factory only release, and I said it even once we get into the drink of the week. You know, so many are Kentucky only or
That's right.
distillery only releases, and it's crazy to me, especially some of
is.
the really good stuff that you can find.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited about it. And so, what were you kind of saying? Because pre-show you were kind of explaining the stripes. for the
Right. So,
Tiger.
so if you notice, these things are striped. They're barber poled. It's a 3 vein, meaning that there's a Connecticut, a Maduro, and a Candela wrapper on there, and each one of them has a different broad stripe, if you will.
Right.
And so for this one, the Tiger Lily, the Connecticut is the broad stripe. For the Con, the green is the broad stripe.
That's the Candela,
The
right?
Candela,
Okay.
that's right.
Okay.
And the Candela is kind of a grassy flavor, and then for the Neon Tiger, the Madura is more the broad
Which would
stripe.
be the darker.
The darker
Yes.
one.
Okay.
That's right. That's right.
Fantastic.
Hey, I like our new camera. You can actually see.
Oh,
what
I
I'm
know.
holding.
It looks,
Yeah.
it
You like
looks
that?
great.
Yeah.
It looks great.
Shout out to Razor for
Yes.
for the new camera that we ordered. Fantastic.
Oh, man.
So just run down a little stats like
Yeah,
I
what
do
do
with
you
this
got?
thing.
I know
This
you've
is
got
a
some stuff.
6x48 on the ring gauge.
Okay.
It is a Connecticut Candelo Maduro wrapper, but it's Ecuadorian Maduro, which is kind of a little darker,
That's right.
at least on my palate. It's a little darker. You have an Ecuadorian Habano binder and a Nicaraguan filler as well. And from what I saw, these are about $18 a stick is what I saw MSRP. So
and look, shout out to Nacogdoches Cigar Company.
oh, for sure. We love the guys at NAC.
We picked these up at the festival.
How was
Okay.
that?
They
Did
had,
you have a good
oh, it
time?
was awesome. Yeah, it was fantastic.
I love the name of it,
lots of vendors.
Tobaccodoches.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm going to go to that at some point.
Yes, I was kind of hoping you would go this year.
I thought long and hard about it, but
yeah.
yeah, I thought long and hard about it.
We all need to go next year.
That's a good idea. I like that
we all
one.
need to go. Bring
I
the-
like that one.
We can load up
Yeah.
maybe a Mevo or something that we have and
Yeah, I can see
do
that.
a little bit of footage.
I can
Footage,
see that.
yeah,
We can do some
absolutely.
footage.
Yeah,
We can do
yeah.
some footage.
I'm sure
Yeah.
nobody would complain about a little free advertisement.
No.
do something like that.
No.
What? Free
If
advertising?
you don't mind, since I'm a little far away.
No, I got you. I got yous. I got
Thank you, sir.
Had to break out my Galveston Island cigar lounge cutter. I love this thing.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, that's what I try to make it a habit every time I go to a shop. I try to get some of their branded
Their
stuff. Which,
stuff.
by the way, you and I need to make a trip to Humidor in Port Arthur too.
It's actually called Humidor.
It's called Humidor Cigar Lounge in Port Arthur, and because I messaged them and they're like, "Yeah, let us know when you're coming in."
Really?
Yeah. So, shout out to those guys because I hear they're doing some really good stuff, and they've got some really decently priced merch on their stuff, and they've got a pretty good selection of cigars from what I've been told too. They do a lot of work with Clifford
Yes.
because of the
go ahead,
whole
man.
Port Arthur thing.
Yeah.
So
Well, and that's good.
Yeah.
They needed a shop down there in Port Arthur.
they really did. I
That's-
mean,
that's
Port
really
Arthur's
what
kind of
they
an
need.
underrated cigar town. I mean, you got Cigar Club of Southeast Texas here,
Yep.
but
And shout out to those guys.
oh
They-
yeah, those guys, Justin and
them
the
do
crew
it.
down
Yeah,
there,
do a
they
great
know
job.
their stuff.
Yep.
I've actually been, and I'm sure you have too. I've been to their.
The Lake Charles location, the flagship. Yeah.
Yes, that's the word I was looking for, but
Yeah.
I was drawing a. I had a blonde moment for a second. I couldn't figure out the word.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, that is very good.
Yeah.
I like that one. I like that one a lot.
Yep.
It's really kind of.
It's mellow, but it's got some spice
It's
to it.
very mellow.
Oh, I
That's
got a
what
lot
I
of pepper
noticed.
spice
Yeah.
on it.
It's
Yeah.
very mellow. I like the spice in it. To me, it's just the right amount. It's not too heavy, but not too light neither.
Yep. And they said that about halfway through is when it really changes flavor.
Really?
I went,
So that was the nice thing
I
about
went the wrong way on my breathing. That's why I coughed.
So at the Nacogdoches Cigar Festival, the reps actually stood there and talked to you, and
That's a good thing.
And so it was you actually got to ask questions and better understand their brands, and most of them would give you a 5-10 minute sales pitch per cigar, which was
Nice.
fantastic.
Oh, dang.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
yeah.
So besides Black Label, what were some of the other
Yeah, who were some of the guys
manufacturers
out
that were?
Let's see. Buffalo 10 was there, which is made by, I can't remember the name of their company, but they were there. Espinosa was there.
Okay.
I know, man. I'm drawing a blank, Greg.
This is great TV. No, I'm just
Mm-hmm.
kidding.
Well, I'm pretty sure. So I know that Nacogdoches Cigar Company's house blend is done by Blanco.
That's right. They were there.
Okay.
They were there.
I figured they were because, like I said, they
Yep.
do their house blend.
Oh, that was the one we had talked to
Yes.
the guy about.
Yeah.
yes, the house
Yeah.
blend is done by Blanco.
Saka was there.
Okay.
Steve Saka was there. They had lots of the Stillwell Stars, which are the cigars rolled with pipe tobacco.
Oh, yeah,
on the
I've heard
inside.
about those. Yeah.
And so they were there talking those up along with the Sober Mesa Brulees.
Okay.
L'Orange was another one that was there. I don't know. I didn't know it.
Okay.
So something I'm kind of curious about, since we're talking a little bit of cigars, what are your thoughts on all of these cigar and whiskey companies collabing and making,
I love it.
like kind of like you
Yeah.
mentioned, Cohiba and
I
Weller.
love it. Cohiba and
Blackened
Weller.
and
Yep.
Drew Estate.
Yes, the
I know Buffalo
M81.
Trace has one. CB Jackson
Yep.
has one. I mean, there's a ton,
Well,
and they seem to be hitting more and more
So
frequently.
right, that's
oddly
right.
enough, we had kind of the one on the show that started that whole thing, the Ted's Bourbon cigar. That's the one that started this whole craze.
Yeah.
Was started
'Cause
by
that's-
that one particular one because it's actually Maker's Mark.
Right.
Yeah. And there's another one out there, Single Cask Nation. I don't know if you've seen their brand
Yeah.
of spirits. They actually do one with Aganorsa leaf.
Okay.
And age it in either a rum. As soon as they dump a barrel,
Right.
they stuff it full of cigars.
Really?
And it'll do a release about every year or two.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So do you? You enjoy?
Oh,
those,
I love
those types of cigars.
Yeah, I love those types. Just something different.
Right.
And I smoke lots of different brands. I don't smoke
Yeah.
just one thing.
No, you're
smoke
pretty
a lot.
across the
Yeah.
board. I mean,
Would
we've
you
had
say you're-
anything from the smoked pig to the psychos. I've
smoked
had
pig was
yeah.
The Drew Estate stuff. I
Drew
love the
Estate
Pappy stuff.
Yeah, Pappy's is.
And the last time we all got together, what was the one you broke out?
Oh, the Andalusian Bull
Yes,
from
that
LSD.
that was really good.
Yeah. And that one had what did I tell you? I think 4 years age on it.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it was it had been resting for a while, which really helps mellow those cigar flavors out a little bit.
Oh,
Do you find yourself partial to any particular brand, or you?
Yes, I'm very partial to Drew Estate.
Which isn't a bad. I mean, he's got such a broad
He's
lineup.
got a very
Yeah.
broad
But there-
lineup.
You can go
like the-
everything from sweet to bitter to
The
Earthy.
Ligas, the
Yeah.
the
really
Ligas.
heavy ones.
Right.
That's what I really
the
like.
shade, the undercrowns.
Yeah.
Undercrowns are
Yeah.
real.
They do the flying pigs. I
Yeah,
don't know if y'all
the
had
I've
those.
heard of them. I hadn't had one yet, but I've
we'll,
heard of them.
We'll do that next time y'all come to the house.
I like it. I like it.
Is
But
it,
yeah.
is it Drew Estate that does the fire cured?
Yes.
Yes,
the one
the
that I
fire,
like.
the Kentucky
the one you
Fire
like.
Cured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was Drew Estate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Kentucky Fired Cured
Yes.
Mawat.
The
That
Muwats.
stone gun is good. I don't care
Yeah.
what you say.
Or the swamp things.
Yeah, the swamp things are good.
Yeah.
So they're
Yeah.
they're pretty good. They're not too bad. And then, like I said, the thing I tell everybody when you're first kind of easing into cigars, and it's kind of a cliche thing, but I use the acid Cuba.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like the
Yeah.
gateway.
It is.
Especially with Drew Estates. It's Drew Estates' gateway to all
Right.
his other stuff.
Yep, that's right. That's
So-
right.
Yeah,
And they're kind of sweet on the.
the Gateway was really.
On the
like I said,
crown.
I had. I mean, the one you gave me, and then I went out and.
Well, I gave you a Gatekeeper.
Or Gatekeeper.
That's by
the
Alec
Gatekeeper
Bradley.
by Alec Bradley.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah,
Gatekeeper's
sorry.
good.
Trying to keep them all.
That's all right. No,
keep them all
that's all right.
straight.
That's all right.
No, you're good, dude. You're good. We bounce
But-
all over
Don't
the
worry.
place.
They'll
anyway.
be all over. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
But the
Yes,
other,
all over
and
the place.
the one that I've recommended, because one of my coworkers and her husband are trying to get into the whole
Yeah.
whiskey and cigar thing.
Oh, yeah.
One of the first ones I recommended, and I thought it was really cool that we most recently did. A couple of them were the Four Crazy Bitches or
The Yummy Bitches.
Yummy
The
Bitches.
Yummy Bitches.
Crazy
Yummy
Bitches.
You know, there's
Yeah.
actually a new one too, right?
Yeah, I remember you talking about
The
that.
girl
but-
with no name.
Yeah.
Yeah, but those were some of the first ones I recommended because
Yeah.
obviously with her being a female, she was leaning more to the sweeter
Yes.
things.
Stuff,
And
yeah.
I was like, well,
The sweeter
I
stuff.
think you'll really enjoy these. Dana really enjoyed it the
Yep.
first time she had it, and that's what when she does, that's kind of her go-to, her Snoop Dogg.
Well, and
Yeah,
don't,
when she
and
said
don't,
she
and
smoked
don't
with Snoop
forget
Dogg.
that they also make coffee flavored ones, and so if you can migrate from the super sweet to the coffee,
Right.
and then to something
Yeah,
maybe not sweet.
The Javas, the Java Mints.
Yeah, yeah,
they're
yeah.
all.
The
The Java.
Tobacs.
David Collins is a big fan of the Java Mint. So shout out to David. I saw him not too long ago, and he was doing well. We had a
Yeah?
chat, and he was doing very well. But yeah, I mean, like you can go anywhere with
Oh, yeah, for
cigars.
sure.
I mean,
That's
you
right.
can go all over the place. It's all walks of life. I know one that you and I kind of share as a favorite one is the Perdomo 10
Oh, yeah,
anniversary. The
yeah.
Perdomo 10 is
it's solid.
yes,
it's solid.
It's a very very good one.
Yep.
It's a very good solid
So what are
one.
some of the notes that you get from this? And I don't know if you made any tasting notes off of.
I did not. I normally
you
go
were
out. I
able to
normally,
find?
when I do my cigar stuff, I normally go out
Right.
with my
No,
own palette
Yeah.
because you get so many. Like you have so many different ones. Like I couldn't even find Jack for this on my normal reference, which
Right.
is Cigar International.
Right.
Yeah.
So I had to go to
Which isn't a bad
I had
reference.
to go to Blind Man's Puff to find stuff
Blind
on
Man's
this one.
That's a good
And
review
they're
site.
a good review site too.
Yeah.
Shout out to those guys. They were pretty in depth on it. But yeah, to me, I get the pepper that we talked about. I'm starting to get a little bit of the grassiness because I'm starting to get into the
Yep.
Candela.
Yep.
So that's a good thing. I always go to the earthy stuff, man.
Yeah.
I always go to the richness,
Yep.
the rich tobaccos, the peppers.
Leather. I get leather.
Yes, I get a
leather
little.
on this.
I get leather too.
Yeah. And
yes.
even some mushrooms.
That's a new
That's
one.
an interesting
Yeah.
one.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah.
I may have to
So
see
on
if I
the-
hit that in the second, third, or not.
Yeah.
You mentioned grass before, and I think we've always kind of tried to equate it to whether it's like hay or
It could be
fresh
either.
cut grass or
It could be
things
either.
like that. So, in my opinion, like on this one, this is more like fresh green grass to me versus a like a hay that you would get.
Like a barnyard hay
Right.
kind of
You know,
smell.
oddly enough, and I know you're going to look at me funny for saying this, you know what kind of grass I get? Bermuda 419.
Oh gosh, that's very specific, sir.
It is very specific. That's, oddly enough, the high school where I played high school baseball at Nevadale, the infield was Bermuda
So you
419.
tasted it quite a bit.
Yes, I did plenty of face dives on that infield. So yes, I've tasted Bermuda
And
419.
I get a lot. Like I don't get any cedar. Like a lot of the ones he lights up,
Yep.
and just from me smelling them, one of the first smells I often get is a cedar or a that kind of fresh wood type thing. I don't get any of that on this.
Well,
For
a
me
lot of
personally.
that, a lot of the cedar I've noticed, it depends on, and you can attest to this. It's how it's stored because
That's
a
right.
lot of people use the Spanish cedar planks
in the boxes.
in the boxes.
And I can tell you the box that this came out of was painted.
Okay,
So there was no
cedar.
There was no
Right.
cedar right against it.
Gotcha.
When I pulled it out of the
Okay.
box, and I can tell you in my humidor at the house, it was laying on top of other cigars, so
Right.
there wasn't.
So the cedar in a box or a humidor makes that big of a difference.
It does, absolutely. Y'all keep talking about my grandfather clock that
Yes.
I'm working on.
We're
I
so
love
excited
the,
to see
I
it.
love
So it's going to be nothing but Spanish cedar on the inside.
Really?
And the cigars that lay against that cedar will draw in that flavor.
Yeah, it'll more or less impregnate, even
Yeah.
though it's in the
Yeah.
even though it's in the
So that was going to be my
Cellophane.
That
Cellophane.
was another
Yeah.
question I was going to ask.
So that's a good point. This is not plastic.
no.
Right.
If this is a natural product,
Right.
so if you burn this turns to ash, not to a little puddle of goo.
Goo, right.
And so it actually
Doesn't melt.
It actually breathes.
Yes.
And so,
So that was going to be another question I asked, and I'm glad we have you on because I've been meaning to ask. I just recently bought one of those like mason jar style humidors,
Yeah.
Okay.
just to kind of get me started because I've only got a couple cigars at the
Yeah.
house. So something I wanted to ask about storing my cigars is I've got one that's in like the plastic tube, and then I've got obviously a couple that are like this, and I've got some that are just open.
Right.
Is there do I need to open all of them and stick them in
No.
there? Can they stay in the plastic
No,
tube?
you can keep them.
leave them
yeah.
just as they are.
Okay.
Just as they are, because they'll age differently if you pull them out of the
Okay.
tube or
Yeah,
out of
and
the
plus
plastic.
too, not only that, you'll get some of the if they're laying right against each other, you'll
Yeah.
get some transfer from one wrapper
Right.
to another one. Like if you've got a Connecticut laying next to a Maduro,
Okay.
you're going to get transfer from
Yeah.
it.
And if you have anything sweet in that jar, everything is going to be sweet.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think I have anything sweet in there.
Or coffee infused.
Right.
Everything is going to be coffee infused
Yes.
after
Okay.
like 2 months.
Wow.
And always
Interesting.
use your Bravada pack.
I have one.
Yes.
It's,
Always.
it's just one of the small little ones.
Hey, that's all
That's
it
all-
takes.
It's like
man.
a
And
that's all it takes.
68%.
Yeah,
I think
and
is
then
what
when
it is.
when it gets dry, take a wet paper, take it out of the jar, put it in a wet paper towel in a Ziploc bag. 2-3 days, it'll recharge, and you can put it back in your jar.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, and you can
So-
do that until the cardboard falls off of it.
Huh. Is there a trick other than just opening it to lower the humidity? Because I don't know if it's because it's where it's sitting.
Where is it sitting? Is it sitting in sunshine?
No, it's actually sitting on the bottom. So the whiskey shelf that my gracious
Yeah.
wife cleaned off for me, it's on the bottom shelf.
Okay.
But I think part of the problem is a few feet back and above it is our
Return air.
so it blows straight down. And right now we have the heater on, obviously, with
Yeah.
it being chilly. So I don't know if that's affecting it or
Put it in the bottom of your closet.
Okay. Because I don't like to just keep opening it.
on a shelf someplace that's out of the way. The ideal thing is to keep it below 70 degrees.
Right.
Because above 70 degrees, if there are any cigar beetles in the cigar, they hatch above 70 degrees. Technically, it's above 75, but
That's a thing.
that's a thing.
Cigar beetles are a thing. my
Cigar
friend.
beetles are a thing. Yeah.
Not to
Yeah.
freak anybody out out there.
You'll notice it too. You can see it
Yeah.
because it makes like little runs in the wrappers.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
They burrow almost
Yeah.
in the tobacco.
Yeah.
So
Now
you
most-
make like little runs and
And
stuff.
this is a common knowledge accepted thing in
It's
the
a-
cigar industry.
It is, but good manufacturers
Right.
freeze their cigars below 0 degrees before they ship them out of the factory to kill all the eggs, kill everything.
Yep.
But not everybody
Right.
can afford to do that.
Yeah, because it's pensive.
Yeah, yeah,
It's pensive.
So somebody without a humidor, could you freeze your cigars and they'd be okay?
yeah, yeah. But there's a
Interesting little fact.
there's a thermocycle that you have to go through, so you can put them in the freezer directly, but then after they stay in there, I think it's 5 days. You have to pull them out and put them in the refrigerator for 5 days, and then pull them out and put them on your counter for 5 days, and then you can put them back in your humidor.
Kind of like aging whiskey.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Because you want to freeze
You're
it
right.
to contract everything, and then you want to let it
breathe
warm up
again. Yeah.
so that everything expands and it touches everything.
Yeah. And if somebody decides to do that, they need to go look it up because
do your research.
There's a lot of tips about it because you don't want to. A freezer will actually push moisture into the cigar,
right?
And as you bring it back up, it will swell and bust your wrapper, and you don't want to do that.
No, because you bust your wrapper, you might as well throw it in the trash at that point.
Yeah.
I was just trying to think of other ways to save it. Like if somebody just handed me a cigar and I previously didn't have a humidor, what do I do with this?
Smoke it immediately.
Well, yes, obviously. I figured that would be your
And that's
answer.
why this guy's here. Because those comments like, smoke it immediately.
Where are you going with it?
Don't wait.
Yeah. No, I handed you that to smoke with me.
Yeah. And if somebody ever comes back from the Caribbean and gives you something that they say was a Cuban that they picked up from somebody on the beach, either smoke it immediately or do not put it in your humidor.
Really?
Yeah, because those things they're sometimes rolled with newspaper. They're sometimes rolled with
What?
all sorts of
do
other
them
things.
They do them a little different down there.
Yeah, so don't. Those are the ones that you have to worry about.
Yeah,
and watch out for.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Glass tubes are always a safe bet if you're in the Caribbean. I brought one back
Yeah.
from my dad. It was a Vega Real in the glass tube.
Oh, those are good.
Yeah, I brought him that from the Dominican Republic where Brandy and I went on our honeymoon.
Nice.
Because they had a nice little gift shop, and in the back of their gift shop, they had a humidor probably about half size of this room.
Really?
Nice.
Yeah, so it was
That's pretty nice.
it was very
That's nice for that area.
Yes, it's very nice. It was all inclusive resort in the Dominican, so of course when you go all inclusive, they have the
Well, yeah.
the nicer stuff.
The nicer stuff.
They have the nicer stuff.
It's the nice
It's the
stuff.
nice stuff.
That's funny.
All right.
Well, do you want to dive into
Sure, we can dive into actually
the drink of the week?
the secret drink of the week. Because
Secret
we
drink of
usually
the
have one that we all talk about, and this week we talked about it with Ryan. But
Yes.
what Ryan didn't know when he walked on set.
Oh, are we doing that one first?
We're gonna do this one
Oh,
first. I
boy.
think. This one's
Yeah.
special.
Yes.
I don't have a whole lot of it, obviously, because of certain proprietary reasons, but we'll just go with it. So this little bottle here is Fierce Whiskers
Yes.
Rye from Austin. Are you pulling up stats and information on me?
No, you're good. Go
Okay,
ahead.
good.
I figured you had it all.
So I actually did not. That's the funny part about it. I didn't have anything on it. All I know is the mash bill is like 95% rye and 5% malted barley.
Yep.
Kind of like similar to the
That
mash
one,
bill
the
on
mash
the
bill. Yep.
on the was it Buzzards
Roost.
Buzzards Roost, yeah. So I walked into Fierce Whiskers. Yeah, shout them guys out for sure. I talked to Miles and Evan, which are two of the bartenders there at Fierce Whiskers, and I said, "Hey, I'm from out of town, yada yada yada. I'm visiting. I do a podcast, The Functional Gentleman." And the one dude, Evan, looked at me and goes, "I've heard of that." And I'm like, "In Austin?" And he's like, "Well, yeah, it's on Facebook." So shout out to those guys. I got this from them. It was kind of a last minute thing, so I figured we would try it to kind of critique it. They told me that on their palates, they get a fine mix of toffee and caramel is what they get. So I'm going to pour a whittle in everybody's Glencairn. And we all have Glencairns tonight. Fantastic.
Woohoo.
Yes.
I'm excited to try this because I've been following these
You
guys.
have been following them, and that's
On-
kind of the whole point. So, to backstory a little bit, I spent time with a friend of ours, all three of ours actually, a gentleman by the name of Dale Boothman, who has season tickets to Texas Longhorns. So I
Yes.
went and watched Texas TCU, took Brandy, took Braden, our oldest. Braden loved it. I almost froze to death. I overpaid for a Texas Longhorn hoodie at the stadium, but I was warm. That's the only thing
That's
that
what
matters. I was warm.
matters.
I lasted as long as I could with my Columbia long sleeve T-shirt and hat, and I had to go get a hoodie.
Nice.
So, but yeah, I got this at Fierce Whiskers.
And this is their rye, correct?
This is their rye. Yes, this is the one that is close to market. This
and it's
one,
aged. Do you remember?
I think it's about 2 years is what they told me. I could be wrong on that, but I want to say they
That's
said
probably
2
right
years.
for a rye.
They said it was you would get the young off of it, so I'm assuming it's around that 2-year range. But it's very good coloration. I found it very smooth. I actually had it in their building,
Oh, that's nice.
so
I like-
Oh, that's
I
good.
figured y'all would.
I
Kind
really
of,
like that. That
Yes.
brings that rye spice to
Yeah.
the forefront.
right to the front, but even some fruit.
There's a lot of dark, like
It's supposed to be like dark cherry. You're supposed to get notes of that.
it's
Maybe
almost
even a peach.
Maybe
One of their
definitely
other-
a stone
different
fruit.
fruit.
One of
Yeah.
their
Stone fruit.
Yeah.
one of their other bartenders, and I didn't catch the guy's name for the life of me. He says he gets red crisp apple.
Ooh, I could see that.
I
could
can see
see
that
that.
too a little bit. It's like
kind of
very
got that apple juice.
It's got the apple
feel.
juice.
Finish,
Yes.
maybe.
Finish,
Yeah.
Especially
good.
as I talk and my breath goes in and out.
Right, yeah.
I can definitely see that apple
Yeah.
juice.
Yeah, you
kind
get, and the
of-
good thing about it is I like the burn of it.
yes,
It's a good burn. It's a good steady burn. It's not overpowering. And to me, I don't really get the youth off of this.
Oh no, I do.
At least that's just me, though. I mean, you can tell it's young by the coloration and stuff.
I don't get it in the coloration so much, but there is that kind of numbing effect of your tongue.
Yeah. Okay.
That you get off of a young whiskey.
Gotcha. Okay. Maybe that's what I'm confusing with something
Maybe.
else. Huh?
it's got
But
a
it's-
good,
but it's
decent
good.
burn.
Yeah,
I can't wait for this to
Like
be in a
the-
bottle
It
someplace.
should
the
be.
finish is
From
really
what
nice.
they
It
told
is.
me, their plan is a March release in like liquor stores and stuff like that.
Okay.
That's exciting.
That's their
exciting.
plan. They did have some other stuff that we talked about. They're halfway through their aging process with their bourbon. They wanted to age it 4 years. They are 2 years into that.
Okay.
They have a gin that's out. Not a big gin fan, but theirs is pretty good.
Try that with your cigar.
They have their
slide this
their
one. Yeah.
rick house, which I got to see from the outside. I didn't get a chance to go in it because
yeah.
I was obviously in a hurry getting back home. Is a 4-story rick house. So yes.
So they're storing some stuff.
Yes, their store, they've got some stuff. They told me they're basically working on everything right now except for vodka.
Yeah.
Like they're working
good.
on rum, they're working on tequila, they're working on
Oh, that gives it a
the
different
bourbon
flavor,
and all
doesn't it?
that.
like dark chocolate
Yeah,
almost.
yeah. Maybe even coffee.
Yeah.
That's
oh,
good.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
More of a
That's good.
that Java bean cacao, as I like to say. No, but that definitely opens up a different palate on it whenever you do that.
I'm going to try this for a second.
There you go.
It's kind of this new thing I've been doing the
I
last
like
couple
it.
of weeks.
I like it. Smoke it.
Yeah, instant
whiskey.
Instant
Yes.
smoked whiskey.
No, and I mean, as you know, we're big fans of pretty much all Texas whiskey, but
Absolutely. Yeah.
so just one more hitting the market. I mean, like I said, I've
That
been
is
following these guys on their social medias
Yep.
since I can remember. I mean, I'm not going to say it was day one, but
I would
I found
would
them pretty
love to
early
try
on.
this with like mesquite, like smoke it with
Yes.
like the
Yeah.
smoking caps that you got
Yeah.
us, or that you made us rather,
Yeah.
from McGee Works, which is, if you ain't seen this stuff, it's pretty good. But yeah, I would love to see that with a mesquite.
that
smoked.
I'm excited about.
Yeah, it was really good. Like I said, shout out to the guys at Fierce Whiskers. They hooked me up. They also got me in contact with and for the life of me, let me see if I can remember this. Sophia Milan, who is their community engagement coordinator. So I have her card. I was also told that we could do a live there at some point. We're going to have to coordinate that,
fantastic.
obviously.
That'll be
so
fun.
that'll be fun. All of
And
us
from what I
going to-
understand, the tasting room is very nice.
Oh yes, it's very bougie like you. I walked
That
in
was
and
the
noticed
first
that
he
real
called
quick.
me on his way home, and he was like, "You'd love this place.
Oh.
It's just like you."
Yeah,
I was like, "What do you mean?"
You walk up and the wall you walk into is all glass. It's got the leather furniture. It's got the
Nice.
coffee tables. It's got a tremendous bar behind it. It's all mirrored and it's gorgeous. It's a good. They're doing it right at Fierce Whiskers.
So is it
I've
all?
said that.
I'm curious. Is it all? And I don't. Maybe you didn't notice, but is it all their product behind the bar?
It looked to be all their product. Their labels that they have for their stuff behind the bar is a little simpler than what their label for marketing is.
Yeah.
I didn't get to see the marketing
Right.
label, but their labels that they have are very plain, and oddly
Which I
enough,
think early on-
their bottles are shaped very similar to this bottle.
Really?
They're behind the bar
Well,
bottles. yes.
until you get the TABC
Yeah.
approved label,
Right.
You can't. There's no reason to.
Yeah, there's no
just-
reason to fancy
But
it
I mean,
up.
there,
Yeah.
and there's a lot that you can see the progression of labels and how they
That's right,
evolve over
evolve.
time.
Yeah.
Because a perfect example is like the Smoke Wagon that we went in on together.
Yep.
That label is basically a plain white and black paper label that's
That's
stuck
right.
on the bottle.
But did you notice the bottle? the bottle has embossed flowers in the glass, which is they printed them on all the first couple runs,
right.
and then they went to the embossed glass just for them. So they were they were printing the flowers originally.
When y'all talk, I'm gonna grab a water.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
But you want a water? Or are you good with your? Oh, you got water. Fantastic.
That's what that is.
Well, I mean, I gotta raid the stash that I
Yeah, you so graciously stocked up.
I did stock up.
Yeah.
So since
Looks
we're
nice.
kind of starting on this whole Texas whiskey thing, one of the questions I had, since we're kind of diving a little bit into it and still talking whiskey,
Okay.
so have you done any of the whiskey, the Texas Whiskey Trail?
I have. I've been to over in the Johnson City area. I've done the Milam Green, which y'all got to taste.
Yes.
I've also done Andalusia whiskey.
What did you think about that?
So theirs is more of a Scotch.
And because they're doing more of the single malt thing.
That's right. It wasn't for me. I tasted everything they had. I really liked. They have a take on Irish whiskey.
Okay.
That's clear that I loved.
Okay.
It was very good. But you got to be in the mood to drink Irish whiskey, and
And I was racking my brain while you were talking. I can't remember what they call their clear, but
I don't know.
it's not like we call it moonshine.
It's like Striker or something.
Something.
Yeah.
So are we talking like similar to Blender's Dog by
You talking about White Dog by
White
Buffalo
Dog,
Trace?
yes.
White
White
Dog.
Dog.
So this is more of an Irish style whiskey, which
Okay.
means it's all malted barley.
Okay.
And so it's not what you would think
Yeah.
of when you think of clear
Well, I know
bourbon.
Jameson does a quote unquote clear whiskey, but it's not completely clear.
That's right.
It has
And
like a
there's a-
very yellowish tinge to it,
Kinda
at
like-
least in my sight
Right,
line.
right.
Kind of like we call it White Dog or moonshine.
Okay.
The Irish have a name for it. I
Yep.
think Canadians even have a different name for it.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
But I was just trying to rack my brain.
Yeah.
But shout out to Longhorn Liquor. One day, whenever I was in there in the Lumberton location, Mike Wright was in there, and he allowed me to try a little bit of Andalusia before
Yep.
they put it on the shelf.
Yep.
And I felt the same. It wasn't really for me. I don't remember which one he let me try, but for me, it was just super young and it was super almost ethanol-y.
Right.
In a sense, and
Mike's a phenomenal dude, by the way.
Yeah.
If you get a chance,
Now, I mean,
he's there.
to be able to see the progression, like if you bought a bottle now and kind of over time, like explored where they're going with it, because I know
Right.
they're
That's right.
still a fairly new company.
They are.
Yeah.
They are.
So I mean, to see where they go in the future, I think that'll be exciting.
Yep.
But
Yep.
so you've been to Andalusia,
So-
you've been to Milam Green.
I've been to Garrison Brothers,
wanna
which
go
is
there so bad.
fantastic. I can't recommend their tour
Yes.
enough, especially to go and see just the way that they do their barreling. It's unlike anybody else.
Really?
They palletize everything and then stack pallets of barrels
Really?
on top of
That's
each
pretty
other.
cool.
Oh, okay.
But it's just it makes the most sense for what they're doing because like y'all say, here in Texas, the heat really affects the way it ages, unlike in Kentucky.
It
where,
ages faster here, I feel
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
because of the
yeah,
heat and humidity.
Yeah, and so they really walk you through
Which
that
is good
process.
for us because we get like four-year whiskeys
Right,
in 2 years.
Exactly.
So-
Exactly.
Just imagine you do it 4 years,
Have you
equivalent to
had a
an 8.
chance to try their cowboy bourbon?
I have. I love it. It's fantastic. Yeah, yeah. But nothing beats the Balmorea, in my opinion.
Nothing
I-
at this point.
At this point, yeah,
Nothing
yeah.
will beat. That's Texas whiskey, Kentucky bourbon. I don't care what it doesn't matter.
Right.
Nothing right now will beat Balmorea for me.
Yeah, it's
I've also had Bonfire whiskey, which is something produced out of College Station.
okay.
It's pretty good. It's an
Okay.
Aggie whiskey.
Yeah, we did one the Whistle Stop from Rio Grande.
Real process.
Yeah, Rio Brazos. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then, of course,
Man, that's a clear.
Balcones
Yeah.
out of Waco.
What did you think
I
about
love
that?
Balcones.
I love Balcones.
I want to make a trip to Waco
Just for that.
Just for that. Yeah.
The hell
Just
with
for that.
the hell with Baylor, the hell with Chip and
Chip and
Joanna.
Joanna.
No, I'm going for
We'll set the
Balcones.
wives free over there, and we'll go to Balcones.
Yes,
and
by far.
Yeah, absolutely.
see who spends more money.
Oh, I love. Like I say all the time. To me, the lineage that they do, I love the. To me, it's probably
So
one of their more underrated.
What are your thoughts on the Diageo buyout with Balcones?
It's going to be interesting to see what they do. I mean, everything Diageo has bought in the past, like over in Scotland, they've left alone
Right.
and allowed the master distillers to stay and continue to produce. It was empty. Continue to produce everything as they normally would, and so they have a lot of respect for the tradition, and so
that's a good thing.
And that was kind of my thoughts whenever we talked about it a couple weeks ago. Was I'm hoping it's more from a distribution standpoint where they step in, so that more
to get them a bigger footprint. Yeah, I think you and I both said that.
Yeah,
balcones, because I think it's something that needs to be out in the market. I mean, it's what they're doing is awesome.
Yeah, they're good.
Do you have a favorite that you've been to?
And Garrison Brothers.
Just overall.
Yeah, overall. Their family atmosphere. Mr. Garrison comes and walks around let me set the stage of what Garrison is. So when you pull up on their property, they have a tasting room, a tasting bar, if you will, and like 3 different bars right when you pull up at the parking lot. So you don't even have to go and do the tasting. You don't have to go and do anything. Right, you can walk up and taste their product, do their flight right there.
Nice.
Sit outside. Typically, Mr. Garrison's out walking around.
That's pretty cool.
Everybody on staff is very knowledgeable. And then, if you didn't know this, if you go and do the tour, you can actually sign up as a volunteer to go back and volunteer and work to dip and fill bottles.
Really?
One weekend every so often.
Nice.
And so it's
free labor.
It's free labor is what it is. And a friend of mine just went and did it, and she told me that it was indeed hard work.
Was it?
For 2 days, 8 hours a day. Now you got a discount when you went to buy a bottle at the end, right? But it was truly hard work the whole time. It wasn't.
I think it would be something fun. I mean, I think it would be even as hard as it might be. I think it would be something fun for somebody like me, and you'd probably enjoy it.
Oh, I would for sure.
I mean, just to be able to see a lot of that process and be a part of it.
To me, a big bucket list for me is Milam and Green, just because of the fact that they're doing the all woman thing, which I kind of
and
think
they're fantastic.
Yeah, that's what I hear. I keep hearing.
I didn't realize it, but they actually do a class.
They do at Milam and Green.
Yes,
that's right. Yeah. So if you want to learn how to taste or how to blend, they offer something for that.
Nice.
Yeah.
I feel it's on my list.
And then I'll give them a shout out too. They also have cocktails that they have made with their product. And if you enjoy their cocktails, they'll give you the recipe. A lot of these places you go to, I'm not going to tell you everything that's in this. You're going to have to come back and try it again. But Milam and Green was pretty cool. They gave us the whole recipe.
Nice.
Very nice.
That is very nice.
All right, so now that we've done our little Texas kick, I guess we can kind of dive into this other one that
I'm excited about this
one.
So
if I'm not mistaken, this is a Kentucky-only
This is a Kentucky-only release.
This is a MGP distillery, isn't it?
It is. The juice is MGP.
The juice is MGP.
Juice, yeah.
So, for those of you wondering, this is Buzzard's Roost Straight Rye Whiskey Toasted Barrel, 105 proof. So I noticed in the photo that you sent, there's only 1,100 bottles made of this. And you happen to get one.
And shout out to
I love it.
Frank.
And you happen to get one.
Frankfurt Avenue Liquor and Wine in Louisville.
Okay.
I was literally in the shop when the guy's truck showed up. I was buying Smoke Wagon, and the guy literally walked over to me and he said, "If you like that, you need to buy one of these bottles." And he had 3 bottles, and
that's one of the 3.
This one came home with.
Nice.
So have you had this yet? Because I noticed it's not open.
This is not open. He cracked open one of the 3.
Okay.
So this y'all are gonna love this. You need to go to Kentucky.
Okay.
Obviously.
All the liquor store. I say all of them. Majority of the liquor stores are allowed to have bars in the liquor store.
Really?
And so most of them have the bottles behind a counter, so you can go and get a taste of it, and then buy their bottle.
Nice.
See, that's something that's pretty cool, because I'll look at bottles all the time and I'm like, what if I don't? Then I just spent $60 on it, and it's just going to sit there, or it becomes a mixer, or whatever. But I mean, the idea of being able to try something.
Yep.
Because I'm not saying I wouldn't spend $60 on a decent bottle that I would use as a mixer or whatever. Because I like a good old fashioned.
I spent $170 on a bottle one time. So
yeah.
Well, and I spent $500 on a bottle that I hated.
Ouch. See, that would hurt.
Yeah.
Really?
Which we'll get in. I want to get it because that's one of my questions. So let's pause on that.
Okay.
Let's pause on that. Let's crack this bad boy open. You want to start working on that?
Sure, I can work on that.
So a question I had on this. This is a straight rye whiskey. I believe it's 95.5, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
From MGP. which if y'all don't know, again, we've talked about MGP a million times. Tons of places are sourcing from them.
Yep.
So something I was curious about, have you seen a lot of finished barrel ryes?
Yes.
Because I noticed this was a toasted finished barrel, and I just, maybe I haven't noticed, but that's not something I've noticed on a lot of straight rye whiskeys, is the toasted or...
The barrel finishing of something else.
There it is.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
So...
I love it.
I was just kind of curious because it's not something I see a lot of. So, and I know there's like a ton of brands doing the whole toasted bourbon thing.
That's right, but not toasted rye.
But not toasted
yeah,
rye.
This is one of the few that I know of that's doing the toasted ryes.
Because I mean, obviously Basil Hayden we've done on the show. That's
I liked
toasted.
the Basil Hayden. It was pretty good. Not gonna lie.
But yeah, Penelope's doing toasted.
Yep.
There's a ton of companies doing toasted bourbons.
Yep.
And so this is one of the first toasted ryes I've seen.
Yep.
I'm excited. Toasted rye. I'm kind of like you with that. That's the whole thing, man. I mean, you get a lot of toasted others, but
Graham crackers?
I can see where you would get that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I almost think more animal cracker than graham cracker.
Maybe iced animal crackers.
I like that one.
That little bit of sweetness.
I like that one. Coloration's good.
Yep. Yep. That's
It's almost
dark.
And of course
It's almost honey.
The legs. I like when you tilt it and you can still see where it stops at. That's fantastic. That's that rye in it.
That's that oil.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's good. That's what I remember. Almost a honeysuckle.
So it definitely, for me, it definitely feels 105 proof. I know some of them you can drink and they drink easier.
Yeah.
But it definitely, I mean,
That's actually smooth though.
What you
for
want, I mean,
over 100.
It's a rye. It's over 100.
For a rye, yes.
I mean,
and
you're expecting a little bit of that oomph.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like it. That's fantastic. So I know some of the other notes, according to the place where I got my reference from, which is Gateway City Whiskey Society.
Mm-hmm.
They mentioned cardamom and clove in their tasting notes, which I get more clove than the cardamom, but that's just what they said. It's really good though. It's really smooth.
I'll get almost more of like an anise or a closer to licorice. I think
I can see that.
Which I've said that before. I think the Jim Beam double oak that we did, I said licorice, but that was a bad black.
Yeah, that was black.
Licorice.
Black licorice.
Like, and I don't like to talk bad about a lot of them, but that was. I'm not going to recommend that to anybody. That was black licorice.
Yeah, because I mean, we all talk about it all the time. We give our honest opinion.
Yeah, I want to be
that's
honest
right.
with people.
That's right.
And my don't get me wrong, my palate is going to be different than your palate
That's right.
And plus, it's the way you store it too. If you store it room temp, is different. If you chill it, it's different.
That's right.
You can go through all those things as well.
But it's definitely.
This one's good though. I'm not gonna lie.
I would definitely equate this to a lot of fall.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and it was bottled in the fall, so that, I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but it was bottled in October, so of 21.
Okay.
So
I like it.
I definitely get the cloves though now that
Yeah. Now that it kind of opens up and it kind of airs a little bit.
Yeah. That baking spice really comes out.
Yeah. Almost, is it pumpkin spice?
It's almost like a subtle cinnamon to me.
Maybe cinnamon.
It's like not real heavy.
Maybe, yeah.
It's like a very subtle, because you get the baking spice that gives it a little pepper, plus the subtle cinnamon.
Yeah.
That gives it a little bit more pepper. So I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. This is nice.
Yes, this is very nice.
Yeah. It's a good bottle.
Kudos to you.
Yes.
I'm glad I bought it.
Kudos to you for sure.
But that's one of the things I find interesting, and I brought it up a little bit whenever we were talking about the cigars and being factory only. What are your thoughts on like something like this that's Kentucky only or?
Oh, I think it's great to have regional only releases, only because it makes them sought after.
Right.
I mean, like I said, I was in right place, right time to buy this. I mean, I wouldn't have even, if I'd have seen it on the shelf, I probably would have just walked right past it, not knowing anything about it. But and they were a fairly new company back in 2021. Sorry,
Okay.
when I did this, I think their first release came out in 2017. So
they hadn't been around.
They haven't been around very
Okay.
long. Yeah, even though they're using sourced whiskey, they still haven't been around very long. And they are now housed and aging all their stuff in Bardstown Bourbon Company.
Okay.
Okay. which
So,
they seem to be doing a lot.
Hey,
yeah, they're doing a lot.
Did you see my post on the Facebook page with the Bardstown trailer?
Yes,
So I was actually
the
delivering.
mobile.
Yes, so I was delivering to one of my accounts, and that guy having to pull up and get fuel.
Oh,
and,
nice.
And
Yeah.
Express Lane of all places. I'll shout out the
That's
store
when
because
you
the
walk
guy's
up and
pretty
you
cool.
start knocking on the bar.
No,
like,
he was.
hey, hello.
No, he was
I need a
standing
drink."
outside, and he's like, I walked by and I said, "Man, if I mentioned that twice on my podcast, I mentioned it 100 times." And he's like, "Oh yeah, you do a whiskey one?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I asked him just curiosity. I said, "Where you heading?" You know where he told me he was heading?
Where?
Baton Rouge.
Oh, come on.
Oh, nice.
He was
Nice.
heading to Baton Rouge.
Nice.
So
Very nice.
I don't know I don't know why he was going to Baton Rouge.
LSU football game.
It had to be because it was.
That's a perfect place to set up.
Yeah, it was. I think a Thursday or a Friday when I posted one of the two. So yeah, that's probably about right.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
But yeah, this
So I don't think it's something. I don't recall you mentioning anything in the comments, and I think we may have talked about it a little bit at your house. What are your thoughts on the MGP, the sourcing? Do you enjoy what MGP does? Do you think it's a good thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, look, let's face it. They allow people to get into the bourbon game quickly,
Right.
by sourcing whiskey. While they may be still trying to develop, somebody's still trying to develop their mash bill the way that they want their flavor to profile to be. But let's face it, you need to start making capital at some point.
At some
in time.
point.
You can't just you can do vodka, you can do gins like we were talking about.
Yeah.
And that'll get you a little ways.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to get your name out there in the bourbon world, MGP or Bardstown Bourbon
And they make
Company,
really good juice. I mean,
They really do.
They do.
they're 95.5,
Because
which a lot
correct
of
me if
people
I'm wrong.
use.
When we went to Front Porch, they do the whole.
They source from Bardstown.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then age it themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they're blending with a little bit of their own distillate also.
Yeah.
Right.
And Milam and
which-
Green was doing the same
Right.
thing.
Okay.
A lot of companies are doing it. And I know Sagamore Spirit, the mystery whiskey that
Okay,
we
yeah.
did a couple weeks ago. Sagamore Spirit is MGP, but they're working on their own distillate.
Okay.
It's been aging for a while. They do a annual release. I think it's called like Penny Proof or something.
Okay.
But it's kind of the progression. So they did a year 1 release, a year 2, year 3.
Yeah.
I think they're on year 4, and they're wanting to age it like 6 years. But it's a Maryland locally sourced rye with a true rye whiskey.
True rye whiskey.
Because
Yeah.
that's kind of what Maryland is known for.
Known for.
They're
That's
growing
right.
their rye.
Yep.
So that's where Sagamore Spirit is trying to get to. So I think that's really cool that and don't get me wrong, Sagamore Spirit, I enjoy what they're doing. And if you haven't had a chance to try their double oak, as a bourbon drinker, their double oak is a great gateway into rye whiskey.
Okay.
But yeah, I highly recommend it.
And so is Heaven Hills Pike's Place.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic gateway as well.
Easy
Easy drinking.
I think MGP, and I don't think they get enough credit, and I don't remember the guy's name at MGP, but I mean that dude's a genius. Let's call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
He's not only is he mass producing great whiskey, but he's putting it in the market under so many different
Oh,
labels.
yeah,
That's
for
right.
sure.
That's right.
So I
That's
mean,
right.
he's got to be doing something, right?
Yeah, he is.
I think it gets a bad rap because people are like, "Oh, it's sourced,"
or
or whatever the case may be. So
That's all right. That's more for the rest of us.
right.
I'm
Yeah.
happy for people like that.
Very much so. So I'm curious. I had one of our other mainstay viewers kind of send me a picture, and I know you're a Penelope guy. So
I love Penelope.
So I have a picture of Penelope's barrel strength, and I'm curious
Okay.
on if you've had it, and if not, have you done any research on
So
it?
I have not had the actual barrel strength, and I'm curious of which batch it is.
That I don't. Let me see if I can zoom on this
But
bottle.
I've had so it's basically barrel strength, but it's it's the Longhorn Liquor Private Select.
I'm going to
barrel
say
strength.
batch number 12.
So
Okay.
and funny thing about that batch, if I'm not mistaken, that's the batch that one dude Ryan that we follow on TikTok. He had a hand in picking
Okay.
that batch. But I've heard awesome things about it. But the Longhorn Liquor Private Select is a barrel strength also. So that one that I've had is awesome.
Okay.
And it's like 117 proof or something.
Okay.
Does not drink that way at all.
Yeah, this
And
one's-
Penelope is MGP.
This one, from what I can tell, looks to be 112.2.
Yeah. So
on the
mine's a
proof.
little stronger, but
Okay.
yeah, I've heard nothing but great things about the barrel strength. It's one of the ones I do want to add to my collection.
It was sent to me by, like I said, one of our other viewers who is a
Everything,
quote unquote Irish whiskey guy. We'll call it like that.
Everything Penelope's doing, I really enjoy. I I like the fact that they're doing a ton. You just did the old man thing.
Yeah. Sorry.
Nah, you're good, dude. You're good.
So what? I'm
This is a
curious on what are you
judgment-free
looking at?
zone. We don't judge here.
No, I was going to tell you, I just picked up a bottle of
If you say-
the American Light Whiskey.
Oh, okay.
And that's
That's
fantastic by Penelope.
Their 4 grain, if I'm
Yeah,
not-
it is their four.
Well, most of what they're doing.
most
is
of what they're
4
doing.
grain.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the American Light Whiskey, that's the green label, if I'm
Yeah,
not
the
mistaken.
green, yeah.
We did the white label on the show,
Mm-hmm.
and I said it, and I'll stand behind it. That is a great introduction bourbon if you're ever looking for one,
Right.
or if you want to get somebody into drinking something.
Yep.
That's a great one.
Agreed.
I want to try all their stuff.
Yeah.
And what they're doing as far as the experimental casks, I think is awesome. Their Tokai,
Yep.
the Valencia that's done in the VDN casks.
I'm sorry. It was a 115.2.
Okay, so it's pretty. I think it's right at the same.
Yeah.
I got a clear picture sent
But
this
a lot
time.
of the, just what they're doing overall, I think is
Yeah.
awesome, and they're a great example of MGP coming through in a different
in a different way.
way.
It is. The way that they do the barrel aging and everything really affects the MGP juice. The Light American tastes like you're eating a yeast roll.
Really?
It truly tastes like just
pretty cool.
fresh baked bread.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's wild.
Nice.
But yeah, and they're blending great. And that's the other side of it that a lot of people
Batch
don't
11,
see. Batch
not
11.
12.
Okay.
11.
Yeah, my
Okay.
eyesight's kind of.
Here, you want my glasses?
I keep
You
telling
may need
somebody
it.
I have to go to the eye doctor
gonna get
because
some
it's about
cheaters?
time because he said come back and see me in 4 years and I'm about at that window.
Yeah.
They have pretty bottles. Yes.
The
Rosemary, they do.
Penelope does have
Yeah.
pretty
They
bottles.
have
I gotta get
peonies
them.
on their bottles. The Valencia has oranges for
Okay.
obvious reasons.
Yep.
But yeah, all their bottles have the peonies on it.
Okay.
The Penelope name is obviously from one of the founders' daughter.
Right.
But yeah, they're doing great things up there, and I think that's a skill that's underlooked and underappreciated is the blending side of it.
Agreed.
Because you can get 4 different whiskeys in 4 different mash bills and throw them all together, but that doesn't mean it's going to taste.
It's going to taste
Right.
good. That's right. That's right. Yep.
So
I like it. Good stuff.
excuse me.
Good job, sir. Fantastic.
Glad
So-
you like it. Glad you like
I really enjoy it. I'm not gonna lie to you one
Well,
bit.
and again, it's something you can't get here in Texas. Which
No,
is,
that's a good
fantastic
thing.
score,
It gives
right?
You, well, not only that, it gives you that thing to where when you plan vacations, you're like, let me see where I
Yeah,
can go and
where
get
do I need to
drunk
go?
Yeah.
and drink good whiskey,
Well,
not just get drunk, like get good whiskey.
Good whiskey.
Right.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's a thing. Yes.
The other bar / liquor store that I'll recommend is Evergreen Liquors in downtown Louisville.
Okay.
They're a dog-friendly liquor store, which is fantastic. You can sit at the bar with your pet and and enjoy yourself. And
So I'm curious.
You know.
I'm curious. Was your pet in the little?
my pet was in the backpack.
On the backpack. Okay.
Yep.
of course.
Of course. We love the pets.
We
here
love
on
the pets.
show.
Yes,
We love the
we
pets.
do. So I guess let's just dive.
So
into
I
a
know
little
you
bit
had
of-
some questions in there. At
I
some
do.
point.
I have a few questions.
Okay.
I didn't know if you wanted to get into any of your headlines or.
I can get into a few of them. I think some of them are interesting. They're a little comical, but some of
Because
them
I've
are,
hit on a couple. I mean, just through the banter that we've had.
Yeah.
They've just come naturally. So that's kind of the good part about
So,
what
so
we're
I'm
doing.
unveiling a new segment tonight called the
God.
Satchel of Richards.
Satchel of Richards.
I love
I
it.
read this article and it kind of made me think this company definitely deserves the Satchel of Richards award.
Okay.
So we're all familiar with Haribo gummy bears, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So Haribo apparently was in the process of receiving a check from Rewe, which is a German supermarket chain similar to HEB from what I'm read.
Okay.
It's
All right.
kind of only in Germany. It's a German thing, yada, yada, yada. So they somehow misplaced a 4.6 million euro check, which is the equivalent to $4.8 million US. A German gentleman found said check, emailed Haribo and said, hey, I found your check. Do I need to send it to y'all? Do I need to destroy it? What do you do? And he said, well, we've already contacted Rewe. They're issuing a new check, so you can destroy it. Just send us proof that you destroyed it. So he sent a video with him burning the check.
Right.
In return, the lovely people at Haribo Gummy
Lovely
Bears
folks.
sent this dude a box with 20 bags of gummy bears after saving them $4.8 million. That's
it.
why Haribo Gummy Bears, you get the Satchel of Dicks Award for the week.
What would you do with a box of gummy bears?
I don't know.
I know what the kids would do with them.
Yeah.
They'd soak them in like vodka or some
Yeah.
shit.
Oh, yeah.
I know what
I'm
they would
sure.
do with them.
God.
I know this next headline is a big thing for you because you're a tech guy.
Uh-huh.
So have you heard of this 98-inch 4K Google Smart TV by TCL?
I have
Yes,
not, but 98 inches is a whole lot of
That's
inches.
a whole lot of inches.
That's a
Not
wall.
only that,
Yes.
it's a whole lot of price tag too. They just went on sale for $5,000.
Oh, wow.
Oh, the low price tag.
Low
Yes,
price.
they started out at $8,500.
So-
by the way,
Gosh.
At what point do you just say, okay, I'm going to buy a nice projector? Because
Yes.
so we make the joke, Hector the projector.
Hector the projector's a thing. Yes,
is my
He's a
my
thing.
projector.
He's a dude.
It goes to 120 inches.
Right.
So at 98 inches, you're not that far away.
Right.
You're really not, no.
But it depends on how much ceiling height you have. So if if your ceilings are 20 foot tall, maybe you don't want a 15-foot drop coming down
yeah.
with your with your projector sitting on it.
Right.
That's just a whole lot of TV.
It's a whole lot of TV.
Physical TV.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's like you need one person on each end, one person in the middle. I mean, that's a multi-person
But
job.
the good thing about this little article is we always talk about balling on a budget on this show. You can get the 65-inch 4K UHD Amazon Smart TV with the QLED by Omni
Oh.
Yeah.
for the price of $600 right now.
you go.
There you go.
So
See,
I think I'll take the
way to go.
600.
That's the way to go.
I think I'll take the 600 over the $5,000.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So I'll hit on a couple of things. I always kind of like to call them BFFs.
I got you.
Bourbon fun
Bourbon
facts.
fun
Yeah.
facts.
So what are your thoughts, and I'm kind of curious on both of y'all, this whole ready-to-drink canning thing that's taking place? Everybody's got something in a can now. Whether it's, I think TX Whiskey is coming out with a whiskey and cola. The High Noons that have the real vodka in it. Jack Daniels has their Jack and Coke. And so,
I feel that their stuff is
Climax
never the
Moon-
way I
Climax
would
Moonshine.
mix it.
Yeah.
Right,
Agreed.
Climax Moonshine has the sweet tea and moonshine. And
Yeah, the Chaser, I think is
so it
what it's
went-
called.
Yeah,
Does he have
right.
that too?
It's like the Moon Chaser or something.
Something like that.
But for me, it seems like we've gone from this whole seltzer kick
Right.
to now everybody's
Hard liquor.
hard liquor in a can that's ready to drink. Are you a fan of any of these? Are you a fan of any of these?
I go back to what I said a second ago. To me, I'm not a fan, and the reason why is because it's not as strong as what I would mix it at
Yeah.
home.
Yeah.
If I'm going to do a whiskey and cola or a whiskey and ginger ale, something along those lines, I want to be able to control how much whiskey goes
Yeah.
into.
And quite honestly, it's not going to be their high end bourbon. It's going to
Right.
be the lower stuff that maybe they can't sell.
So what brought this up is Absolute. They have a, I guess, distillery or warehouse or something in Arkansas.
Okay.
They just spent $22 million renovating for a fully functional, ready to go, ready to drink canning section.
Oh wow. Okay.
Recently, so they're gearing up for quite a big canning. So I just
yeah. I'm not
they're-
a fan, but
the reason I said TX whiskey is because Absolute or whoever the main company of Absolute Vodka is owns TX
Yeah, on
whiskey.
TX,
Right,
yeah.
right.
But so I thought that was kind of weird. Redemption has been forced to stop making their glass flask shaped bottle.
Oh really?
We did Redemption on
We
our
did.
Sunday
I'm
Fun Day.
curious on
so
why.
Diageo said it is far too close to Bullet Bourbon's bottle.
Bottle. I can see that. Okay.
So Diageo kind of quote unquote throwing its weight around.
A little
Yeah,
bit.
got
that's
you.
what's happening.
I got you.
Da-da-da-da-da. What else?
The good news is getting glass bottles is not a problem.
No, you can get.
Yeah.
Unless you're Starbucks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They have a hard time.
They have a hard time with a lot.
They have a hard time.
Yeah. So this is something I had written down anyway, but it seems like everybody right now is coming out with a rye whiskey.
Yep.
Uncle Nearest has announced 2 new ones: a single barrel expression and a straight rye.
Smoke Wagon just dropped
Smoke
theirs.
Wagon just dropped theirs. Still Austin has theirs.
Still Austin has theirs.
Emerald by Blue Run just
Yep.
dropped. It seems like everybody's getting into the rye whiskey game. Is
Rye thing,
the
and
rye
then who knows what the next big thing after the rye thing is.
and finishing? I think is really.
Yep.
I mean,
Yes.
obviously, I think everybody immediately gravitates toward Angel's Envy.
Yes.
They're kind of the
They-
OG in
Yep.
the whole finishing thing.
That's me.
But you look at what, like we were just talking about, Penelope's doing. But it seems like everybody's got a sherry cask finish, a rum cask
Yep.
finish, a Calvados finish.
There was one that I sent you a picture of that we were tempted to do at one point. It was done on sherry slabs. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Okay. I don't
Can't
remember which one it was.
I sent it to you in a picture. I remember
I'd
that
have
because I was
to- I'd have
standing
to
at
go back
Longhorn
and
when I
look.
was looking at it.
But between finished whiskeys and rise, it seems like that's really hitting
That's the
market
next big
heavy.
thing. Yeah.
It is. Now, let me throw a brand at you that you may not have heard of yet. 291 whiskey out of Colorado. Yeah.
I've heard good things about them.
So their finishing process, even with their rise, they use aspen staves in the barrel. Very, very different flavor profile. Very different. And it's good. It's good.
I've looked at the Longhorn on Dallin.
I like the bourbon and the rye are good. I have the rye at the house. The bourbon is the one to get.
They're a little more expensive.
They are. They are.
And not trying it.
Yep.
Obviously, that's not something I'm just going to run and be like, here's $90, take my money, and I'm going to go try this.
Thank you for mentioning that, by the way. If you're interested in the Cohiba and Weller collaboration, Longhorn on Dallin has it in their humidor.
Yes. Yes.
I saw that the other day when I was killing time.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of the BFF for this week.
Nice. I like it.
So let's just kind of dive into some of these questions.
Dive in.
So I'm curious. We've been to your house. We've seen your whiskey collection.
Yep.
I know you're not staring at it, but I want you to try to answer these the best that you can.
Sure, go ahead.
All right. So your cheapest.
Oh, Evan Williams.
Just plain
Just
Evan
plain
Williams?
Evan Williams.
Okay.
Your most expensive?
Whistle Pig, Boss Hog, version number 3. The Prince.
Ooh, very nice.
And that's the one that was my biggest regret.
Is it?
Yeah.
You want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah. I tried it at a restaurant after having had other whiskeys.
Right.
And
That's where you run into the problem.
And I enjoyed it, or I thought I enjoyed it, and so I sought out a bottle and tracked it down and bought one, and it just did not taste the same. So
Interesting.
yeah.
Man, that sucks.
It does kind of.
My heart
Because when he said the name, I was like, "Ooh, really?" And then he said, "It's also my biggest regret." And I'm like,
I do want to try Whistle Pig's new bourbon that they released. I think it's 6 year.
Yeah.
But
The piggyback, though.
Is it the piggyback?
I think so. I think so.
They have funny names like Farm Stock and
Yeah.
Piggyback.
Yeah.
What else? Let's see. Where was I? Oh, brand or bottle that got you started down this slippery slope that we call whiskey.
I can still see it. My Steph's uncle gave me a bottle of Woodford Reserve, and
The regular Woodford?
the regular Woodford Reserve. And I said, okay, I really like this. And somebody said, well, if you like that, you ought to go try Buffalo Trace. And so I bought a bottle of Buffalo Trace. And then the next thing I know, I'm standing in a liquor store and they're doing free samples of different stuff. And I'm going to the counter with 4 bottles of different stuff. And
nice.
It's a gateway.
It's a gateway. Yeah.
All right, so you're everyday drinker. And I don't like using the word everyday because I know we all don't go home and we don't do this to be alcoholics. I don't think any of us would classify the other as alcoholic. We don't really do this to get drunk. I know I've been drunk on the show a couple of times. Watching the World Series, that was me having fun. That was different.
And we cutting loose with a group of friends.
Right,
That's
exactly.
That's different.
But I say everyday drinker, but your go-to one you're going to grab most often.
Most often, it's going to be a toss-up. It's either going to be Four Roses because I love their stuff, or it's going to be
Any
Jefferson's.
certain expression of the Four Roses?
They're small batch, non-chill filtered. By far the best expression they make. It's oily, it's viscous, and
they have 7 different mash bills, if I'm not
6
mistaken?
or 7, yeah.
They got them.
But the Jefferson's Ocean is by far the one that I would just gravitate to. I think I've got 7 of their voyages on my shelf, and they all taste different to me.
Nice.
So, I have to.
That at your house was the first time I tried the Ocean.
The Ocean was,
Yeah.
It was really good.
It was really good.
I don't remember which voyage I had tried, but it was
Yeah.
it was very enjoyable. What else? Let's see. The bottle you're most proud of.
The bottle I'm most proud of.
I feel like I know the answer to this.
Is the bottle I'm most proud of is the one I blended myself.
I figured that's what it was going to be.
Bourbon 30, just outside of Lexington. It's a warehouse. They have over 100 barrels in there, and they've drilled holes in the top of every barrel. And literally, you pay a price. I think I paid $150, and you literally get to go in with a whiskey thief, dip down in each one of the barrels. They give you a clipboard, and you just write the number of the barrel and the tasting notes you got off of that. And then at the end, when you say you're done, when you call Uncle, I tasted 30 barrels.
Holy cow!
And that was I couldn't
and he
go anymore.
stumbled out the door.
Yeah, I couldn't go any further. But at the end of that, they allowed me to pick my top 3, and then they blended those 3 together to make me a bottle.
I figured that was going to be
Yeah.
you're most proud of.
Yeah.
So last one, a bottle that you have that maybe not a lot of people have or have access to.
Okay, so I have a bottle. It's not open. I'm saving it for a special occasion. It's one of the Heaven Hill. They do an annual release, and the year I have, it's a 17-year-old Heaven Hill. I tasted it at the distillery on the tour. They literally poured me a Glencairn, and we went and did the tour. And when I came back out, I bought a bottle of it, and it's fantastic. You can't get any more of it. It was, this one here, they did 1,100 bottles. Right. This particular bottle that I have, they only did 800 bottles.
Oh, wow.
And so I have one of them.
Dang.
And
nice.
So,
So is it just like Heaven Hill branded?
It's William Heaven Hill
Okay.
is the name on it, and it's their 17 year.
Very
and
nice.
It's I'm thinking I'm probably gonna hang on till I retire.
There you go.
And I'm gonna crack it open when I retire.
I like it.
Very nice.
That's always good to have a retirement
Yeah, right.
Bottle.
a retirement plan,
Yeah.
bottle, whatever
Yeah.
you want to refer to
Yeah.
it as.
So on our little Texas run, I asked you about your favorite Texas distillery. You've obviously been to Kentucky and all these other places. Do you have a favorite distillery tour that you've been on from an overall standpoint? Not necessarily this was an awesome bottle of bourbon or whiskey and I really enjoy it, but from an overall experience.
Yes. I've done a lot of the distillery tours up there, and I would tell you that the Willett tour was probably one of my favorites, along with the Evan Williams experience. They do so the Evan Williams experience downtown Louisville, and this is another bottle that I have that you can only get there at the distillery. But
He's flexing.
yeah, I know. But
Hey, that's why we bring him up. Flex away, big fella. Flex away.
But the Evan Williams experience, when you do the tour, they actually take you through the entire process from, okay, this morning we ground this corn and it's over here and it's in this fermenter. This is from yesterday or this is from today, and then it moves from this tank. It moves into, here's where it goes into distillation, and they have a small pot still that they distill on, actually there at the tour.
Right.
And so,
wow.
But so they started back in. They started this tour back in 2018.
Okay.
2018, is that right? Whatever.
Racking your brain.
No, it was it's 2017.
Carry the two.
Yeah.
Yes, it was 2017 because in 2021 when I was there and did the tour, they had just started bottling the first year of the tour because every day they make a barrel of bourbon through the tour.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
And so it's called Square 6.
Yeah.
And then you can only get it there because Square 6 is the name of the square that they're sitting on for the tour.
Okay.
Right? It's a little historic knowledge.
Nice.
And so I bought a bottle after the tour, and it is fantastic. But it's only, they make a barrel a day, and they let it age 4 years. And so very, very good tour, very, very, interesting products.
Nice.
Yeah.
I feel like I learned so much.
I know. I love it.
I love it.
All right, so let's see. What else? All right, so, and this can be whiskey or cigars.
All right.
And or both.
Okay.
And I don't want too many people to hear this. Obviously, this stays between us because people start buying things and then you can't find them anymore.
Right.
What would you consider your hidden gems?
You mean as far as liquor stores I go to, or
Whiskey in general, a certain cigar, something people overlook.
Oh, okay, all right, I'm with you. Okay, so cigars.
In your opinion, obviously, this is all
cigars are a little harder, just because there's not a huge shortage.
Right.
A lot on these. I mean, don't get me wrong. What we tried tonight, what we smoked tonight, was hard to come by,
Yeah.
and you won't be able to get again. But the Stillwell Stars, made by Steve Saka. Those cigars are fantastic, and you can't find them anywhere. So if you ever see one,
buy it.
Yeah. Trust me, you'll like it. But as far as whiskeys go, man, I'm a huge sucker, like I said, for the Jefferson's Ocean. They make a weeded release every so often, and I try and track those down. Those are my favorites, and they're hard to come by.
So do you? I guess that's kind of a question because we talk about it all the time. My palate leans fruity, his leans earthy. do you find that your palate leans
No,
in any one direction, or do you kind of?
I like it all, but I will say that I do lean more towards the fruitier side of things. I find that with the Jefferson's wheat, it's apples, it's baked apple pie is what I taste when I drink the stuff. And,
nice.
And so that's what I look for. And if I really want something, that's what I get.
What you reach for?
Yeah, that's what I reach
Very
for.
nice.
I feel I learned so much.
Right. Do-do-do-do-do.
Learned.
But
so
all right, so but let me throw that question back to y'all.
man.
Okay.
From a cigar perspective.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just now getting into cigars. Roy's, you
Done it for a little while.
done it for a little
Seasoned.
bit longer.
Seasoned.
What do you lean towards, Bucky, in the cigar side of things?
So, and we've talked about it quite a bit. For whatever ungodly reason, I lean toward those, I guess, earthier or heartier flavors and that's why I enjoy the Kentucky Fire Cured so much.
Yeah.
It's complete opposite of where I find my palate whenever I drink bourbon or whiskey or whatever.
But do you find that when you're enjoying, say a sweeter whiskey, along with those stronger cigars, do you find that the flavor of the cigar changes a little bit for you?
Yes, but and one of the things I really pick up on, and I don't know. Obviously, I think I need to change my direction in cigars whenever I'm pairing, but a lot of the cigar, like the Kentucky Fire Cured, overpowers the whiskey that I'm drinking.
Yeah.
And for me personally, I would rather enjoy the whiskey with the cigar as an accent almost.
Okay, I'm with you.
Well, thank you, Myra. That's an awesome comment right
Mara?
there. She said she had, however you pronounce it. I'm sorry, I butcher it half the time. The comment literally is, I don't have any idea what y'all talking about, but it makes my heart happy to see the three of you together. So,
Thanks, Mara.
Fantastic.
And that's what I said it earlier. I don't think any of us would consider the other an alcoholic, and we don't do this to get drunk. But that's one of the things. So for me, and for y'all, feel free to expand on it. For me, getting into whiskey, and I have Roy to thank for that.
I created that
My
monster.
wife now hates him because of the amount of money that is sitting on a shelf.
I feel like I need the jersey that says "She hate me" across the back of it.
So
I
for
feel
me,
like I need that.
whenever I first got into it, obviously it's the science behind it. It's the process of making whiskey that really grabbed me, because I like to research, and everybody sees that as I talk about everything that we're doing on the show. But the other side of that is meeting people like you and the people I've met on social media. Whether it's the Southeast Texas bourbon scene, that one dude Ryan, the whole bourbon TikTok community, but sitting around enjoying and talking about it, like that's some of my best nights is when we sit around. Thank you, sir. I'm gonna go stick it in my freezer. But that's one of the things I enjoy about it is the camaraderie and the way we're able to all sit and talk about it.
Yep.
Because like Mara was saying, seeing us together, but the last time we were at your house, the way we were all talking about like MGP and Bardstown and all these different things, and they're just sitting there like, huh?
What are y'all talking about?
All they hear is the Charlie Brown teacher, wah, 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 wah.
Yeah, but I love the fact that like it no matter what walk of life you are in your whiskey game, whether you like the lower dollar end stuff, the mid end, the high end.
See, that's where people go
It
wrong.
brings everybody together regardless, because you may like something that's way too high out of my price range, but I can be like, hey, have you tried this?
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
you'll try this, and you'll be like, oh man, that's
crap.
really good, and I'm doing this.
Yeah, what
so
am I
it makes
doing?
you adjust on the fly with what you're doing in your and that's cigars too. Like, I mean, with me, it's no big secret. I started out with the Acid Cuba Cuba by Drew Estates, and now I've gravitated to like the Alec Bradleys, the Romeo y Julietas. I've done a couple with you that are the Aganorsa. The Aganorsa was nice. That's where I showed you about the ash.
Oh,
that you can tell the quality of the soul by the way the ash feels in your hand.
Yep, the way it crumbles.
But don't do it when it's straight hot, because you will torch the shit out of yourself.
Oh, really?
Just saying.
Yeah.
But that's
From
one of
experience.
That's one of the cool things is people were like, well, you have to buy an expensive whiskey to be able to
No,
enjoy it.
you do not.
You don't. I don't think people realize how many
You by
whiskeys
far
in
do not.
the I'll say $20 to $40. I think once you get to that $40, then you're talking about a different price range. But you go from $20 to $40, you're buying some amazing whiskeys to enjoy.
And that's the same way with cigars. I mean, like I got my warehouse manager.
Cut it lengthways.
Okay.
There you go.
Interesting. I think I cut mine the opposite way, but okay. Interesting. You have
So
to
what
tell
is
me
this?
how that.
Oh, so okay. So this is.
Yeah, let's talk about
Second
this.
smoke of the week?
Second smoke of the
All right.
week.
All right, so this is the one I was having trouble pronouncing. The Laurent is how I believe you say it. Laurent.
Okay.
This is by Espinosa Cigars.
Okay.
And this is their Escurio cigar. And
So this one is very different. It's dark. It is
Very dark.
It's very dark. It's a Maduro.
It's got a very different smell just on the cigar itself.
I think y'all are gonna like this one. This one, I'll tell you. This is a. So Cigars International. I went and looked it up just
Okay.
so I could use your scale. So this is.
is where I love it.
This
This
is
is where
more.
you
This
use
is
your
more
scale.
on the fuller side.
Okay.
This is more in that darker red.
It's full-bodied like myself.
Full-bodied, yes.
Yes,
This is a full-bodied
fantastic.
cigar. But lots of notes of dark chocolate and leather and.
See, I get the bittersweet coca, like off
Yep.
the cut
Off
from
the
it.
cup,
It's like
yep.
bittersweet coca. Mm-hmm. Like that's just me, and I mean that's.
Yep. And again, we're having this after another cigar, and you can already taste the difference in the flavor profile, compared to that other one, which was a little bit milder.
I love the draw on this one.
Yes.
The draw is fantastic.
So let me tell you about this cigar. This cigar is box pressed. So they make
John's
this
a big
cigar.
fan of the box
Is
press.
he? Okay.
Yes,
So
John likes the box
they make
press.
this cigar round, and then when they put it in the packaging box, it comes out square.
Nice.
And so it actually loosens up the draw a little bit, if you will. Box pressed
So is there-
cigars tend to draw a little bit.
Is there an
nicer.
advantage, or is it just visual as far as like box press, round?
So I've actually done a taste comparison at a cigar lounge where I'm smoking a round cigar, the same blend, a round cigar and a box press cigar, and the airflow is much different through the box press cigar, and so you can typically you can smoke it faster because
Yes.
you're drawing in faster on it, but you can also taste. Doing them side by side, you can taste more of the earthy components.
Yes, you can.
On this versus, say, a round one. of
And
the
plus,
same
too,
brand.
you see a lot, and I don't know if you see this or not, but I've seen this a time or two. You have people that use, especially on round cigars, this what's called a draw enhancement tool.
Yep.
And it literally looks like a ice pick, but it's fluted on either side. So where it goes in and it grabs the binder and the filler and kind of loosens it a little bit.
Okay.
So where you get the same draw from a box press that you would in a round.
Yeah.
Because round cigars typically are a tighter draw because of the way they're packed.
And there's more
rolled.
tobacco in them,
Exactly.
so they don't lose their shape, so they
Right.
stay round.
They stay
So
round.
kind of in the same, I guess, breath. Do you notice a difference in a hand rolled cigar versus like a machine rolled?
I don't smoke machine rolled cigars, so I wouldn't know.
Oh, so you're one of those people.
I'm one of those people. I'm one of those people. I mean, I can tell you, I've smoked a Swisher Sweeter too, which is a machine rolled cigar,
Yeah.
and so yes, there is a difference, a different draw, if you will, on a hand rolled cigar versus a machine rolled
And
cigar.
for the life of me, I can't. But when you mentioned hand roll, it made me think that there's a little dude in Key West who's originally Cuban. He's on the end of the pier where the cruise ships get off, where you get off of the cruise ship. This guy rolls everything. It's a one-man shop, rolls
Just rolling
everything.
it?
Oh, God. And his stuff
they're
is
good.
next level good.
Yeah, there's a guy in Roatan, Honduras, Beto's Cigars,
Okay.
and when we go down there on the cruise, I tend to buy 50, 60 cigars.
Really?
Because they're fantastic.
And are those people called, what is it, a tobacconist or just a cigar roller?
Cigar roller.
Yeah.
Cigar
I didn't know if
roller,
there was like
yeah.
a fancy schmancy
I'm
name
sure there's a
for 'em
Spanish
or-
word for it, but
Oh, I'm sure.
I don't know it.
Yeah.
Tobacconists to
Yeah.
me are more the people that
Tobacconist?
do the blends and the
And ma-
fillers and all that type
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
That's what their purpose in life is.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Well, what else we got?
But yeah, this one is super good. I love the draw on it.
Yeah, this one's, and it's completely different. And you can, like you said, you can taste that even after doing that cigar.
Yep.
We've drank a couple glasses of whiskey now. I mean, you can still grab completely different notes.
Different
off
flavor
of this
notes.
one.
Yeah, because you get the earth, the leather. Like I said, I get the bittersweet cocoa off of it.
And so back to tasting cigars and whiskey, like I was asking you, there's if you take a puff of the cigar and a sip of the whiskey, and then another puff of the cigar, the whiskey in that case will actually round off the edges of the tobacco. But if you take a sip of the whiskey, a puff of the cigar, and then another sip of the whiskey, the cigar will actually enhance whatever flavors you don't pick up from the cigar in the whiskey.
Okay. Interesting.
So it's just a way of tasting. It's what they use.
It's a very tried and true method too. It works.
It's what they do for wine and cheese pairings.
Oh, okay.
Sip of wine, bite
Right.
of cheese, sip of wine, bite of cheese, sip of
Interesting.
wine. Yeah.
So, do you have a favorite cigar and whiskey pairing?
Yes. The Perdomos that we were talking about earlier.
The 10th anniversary.
The 10th anniversary.
Yeah.
I really like their the Maduro 10th anniversary, the blue
Yes.
label. That's by far the best cigar that I can pair with like Four Roses. It's fantastic.
That's a good one. I can see that pairing.
The cigar is
well.
sweet naturally, and then you pair it with that really sweet whiskey. It really brightens both of them up.
For you, I would probably suggest that similar pairing, but I would take it instead of doing the Maduro, I would do probably the champagne, the Perdomo champagne anniversary one.
Yeah,
it's a little lighter of a cigar versus the Maduro because Maduros are dark, stuff like that.
I'm learning.
And look, you like the Muwats, the Kentucky Fire Cure.
Yeah.
That is fantastic with Angel's Envy.
Okay.
Fantastic.
He's right on the money
with Angel's Envy. You light one of those up, you pour you a nice glass of Angel's Envy, and just sit back and relax.
We're big fans of Angel Envy.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on it?
I love
enjoy
it. I love it.
Have you had the rye?
I have.
And they finished the rye in
It's port.
No, I thought the rye was because
It might be sherry.
the
rye is
regular
sherry.
is port,
That's right.
and then the rye I think is sherry.
Yes.
Have you had the rye?
I have.
And your thoughts? I haven't had the rye yet.
So it's good.
It's obviously a little more expensive.
but if you ever get a chance, try it. But for a better price point, Jefferson's rye finished in cognac barrels,
Okay.
hands down better than Angel's Envy.
Okay.
Interesting.
And you can have that at the house if you.
He's like, you can have that.
I've got that one.
You can have that.
Oh man. Golly. You got any questions, Roy? I kind of hit the end of my list.
I just love the camaraderie and the conversation with it.
Look, a cigar is the great equalizer. I've been in cigar bars and cigar lounges all over the place. It doesn't matter if you got a garbage man sitting next to you on one side and a lawyer sitting next to you on the other. You light up a cigar and everybody's immediately friends, and there's nothing like it. And you can add a little bourbon in there, a little whiskey in there too. But
Everybody loosens up a little bit.
yeah,
Everybody,
yeah.
Yeah, you said it earlier. It was kind of like
So-
we're not all alcoholics in here, but to me, I kind of call it taking the edge off because
Absolutely.
we all have work weeks and
Yeah, we all-
stuff that happens during the week and stuff like that.
That's right.
Because we
take
could
the
all
edge
easily
off.
show up to this or to each other's house or whatever the case may be, and just sit around and not like I could easily not talk much.
Yeah.
And because
That never happens, but yeah.
No, never. I mean,
Never.
I want people to look at me. I want to talk. But if I've had a bad day or if I've had a stressful week at work, especially during like the summertime, I could easily just not.
It's better to be a peacock than a wet blanket, sir.
And I'll always peacock.
Always.
But yeah, I mean, it's definitely the camaraderie. It's definitely the experience and learning from someone like you that's been doing it a little longer than either one of us. It's the research that I do, the things that Roy brings to the table. Because he brings a different perspective with the earthy feel and just some of the stuff that he can find that I can't.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like he's not obviously he's not afraid to talk to people. He came back with a sample of something that's never even hit the shelf yet.
Yep.
So I mean, it's the different walks of life, kind of like you talked about. So I do have a question. What is the most expensive cigar you've ever smoked?
Ooh.
I'm curious on this one too. I'm glad you asked this question.
I have smoked a cigar that was $100. It was a Davidoff. It was a year of the
Davidoff.
Year of the Rat, Year of the Tiger. One of those. It was gifted to me, so I didn't pay $100 for
Right.
it. But still, it was a $100 cigar. It was a Salomon, which means It was like 7 1/4 inches long.
That's long.
It was a torpedo on one end,
Okay.
and then it was bulled on the other.
Okay.
And so it was a fantastic cigar. Now the most expensive cigar I bought was about $40.
Okay.
And
And that was
an Arturo Fuente at Casa Fuente in Vegas. I was there for a conference, and it was a celebratory cigar, just
Nice.
sitting around drinking mojitos. If you ever get a chance in Caesar's Palace, Casa Fuente, they have their own house blend cigars, and they make fantastic mojitos. There's nothing like it. You're sitting inside a mall, watching the world walk past, drinking mojitos and smoking. Yeah, literally, people watching. And
I feel like at that point you're one Hawaiian shirt away from being Sonny Crockett from
maybe
Miami
so.
Vice.
Maybe so.
I feel like that's where you're at in life when you're doing that.
Yeah.
So that's your most expensive cigar.
Yep.
So let me ask this, because Roy often talks about he's I think most comfortable in that $6 to $8 range, and you splurge into the $11
I normally
range.
do that, yeah. I mean, because a lot of
Do you
what I
find
smoke
yourself-
is in that range. Like I like the Alec Bradley.
Right.
Yep.
So do
the
you
Drew
find yourself
Estates.
gravitating toward a certain price stick, or you?
I don't typically go above $12, and I'll be honest. I'm a bargain shopper. I love cigar bid, where I can go and bid on stuff and end up with 5 packs for $6 a stick, where in the store they'd be $12 a stick.
Right.
So I'm a huge bargain shopper. I recently bought into a closeout of a cigar brand. I bought they were running a special. Two guys cigars out of Massachusetts. They were running a special: buy 1 box, get 2 boxes free.
Holy crap!
Okay.
And so when you do that, the cigars go down to like $3 a cigar. And so I bought, I don't know, 6-8 boxes.
Nice.
Just because.
I mean, why not?
Why not? Yeah.
Even if they were trash, it's still $3
Hand them
a
out
stick.
as people show up at your
Right,
house. Here,
right.
smoke
Yeah,
this.
Yeah, smoke this.
Yeah, exactly.
I like it.
And look, everybody needs. You've got a jar. You've got a little small humidor here at the house. I know you do. You've talked about it.
Yes.
You need to buy $2 and $3 cigars for those occasions
So
when
and
family
that's-
comes over.
And I was going to ask, because I go in, especially now that we started doing this show, and I'm learning.
You're learning, yeah.
So whenever you go into like Specs or Longhorn or wherever, and you walk into their humidor, if you look on the bottom shelf, they've got what are basically called rejects or ground floor or
Factory seconds.
Factory
factory
seconds,
something is, and they're all like $1.99, $2.99. I mean, they're cheap.
Yeah.
Are there any of those that you would recommend to somebody?
The
Absolutely.
Drew Estate
Absolutely.
factory smokes are pretty good.
I smoked several of those. Matter of fact, look,
you've got one right there,
It's here
yeah.
on my cup because I smoked through bundles of those because they're $2.95 a cigar, and if I'm cutting the grass,
Yeah.
I don't want a
No, I wouldn't
$10
expect you
cigar,
to. Yeah.
right? And so but. To your point, there are places online that you can go. My favorite is a company called House Blends Direct, and y'all have had some of their cigars, the ones that at my house that have the funny little X's on them, or the little green piping on them. They're, I don't know, $50 for 20 cigars,
See, and I would've
25
never
cigars,
guessed. Because I've never
they're
smoked a bad
fantastic.
cigar at your house. I mean,
Yeah, they're fantastic, and I buy a bundle of those every time I do a pig roast. Because I know people are coming over that don't smoke cigars unless they're at my house.
Right.
And, nothing against people, but if you light up one of my $12 cigars, and you only smoke 2 inches of it and you throw it in the yard, I'm
gonna
going to
be upset.
Yeah, I'm going to be a little upset.
Highly upset.
Yeah,
Not
but
a
if-
little upset, highly.
But if you
upset.
smoke one of those $2 cigars and you only smoke an inch of it, well, that's fine. You
fine.
were one of the boys for a little while, and
here's
it
a
was
question to
fun.
both. Yeah, here's a question to both of you. I'm curious of what y'all both say. So, as somebody that is just walking in, I've never smoked a cigar in my life, but I'm serious about it enough so that you're not going to hand me a $2.95 cigar. And I don't want any. I want a true cigar. I don't want something sweet.
Okay.
Right.
What is the cigar that you hand somebody as their, let's sit down, let's smoke this, and let's see how you do?
So I did this recently, actually, with my warehouse manager in Crosby. I actually handed him 3 of the Drew Estates Isla del Sols.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And he loves them. They're like $4.99 a stick at most.
Yep, most places.
Most places you find them. So you're like $15 in, and that's
And it's a name brand, and it's something that somebody will buy.
It's a good entry level cigar because it's sun dry, it's sun grown, sun cured. It's very airy to me. It's not real heavy, not real light.
Right.
It's kind of that middle of the row.
Yeah,
as far as the flavor goes.
And if somebody's going to sit there and truly, smoke it with me and let me coach them along, I'm probably going to go with the Perdomo Champagne Natural that Roy was talking about, because it's a very light smoke. You get nothing but rich notes of tobacco.
Right.
Maybe that hay kind of feel. There's another brand out there. I haven't seen it in a while, but it's called Nub. Have you seen those?
I have done the Nubs.
Okay, so Nub makes a Connecticut. The whole cigar is 4 inches long.
Yes.
And so, if you smoke an inch of it, inch and a half of it, you've done something.
Right.
I mean, it's
and to that note too, Brickhouse's Connecticut is another good one.
Yeah.
It's a very underrated, kind of $4 or $5 stick that you can.
Yep.
And because what prompted the question, I guess, is Seamus with Herf's. Very, very early on into my cigar venture,
journey.
I'd only smoked a couple at your house. I mean, obviously I've been around Roy, but one of the early on ones that I smoked, and he was like, "Look, if you're gonna buy this one and you're gonna smoke it, be fair warned. This is it's gonna hit you.
Yes.
You're gonna taste it."
Yes.
And it was the Kentucky Fire Cure.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And he had mentioned that you had liked it. It was something that he wouldn't recommend for a beginner smoker. And I was like, okay, well, if Ryan likes it, I trust his opinion. Let me just try it. If I don't like it, I've spent my own money on it. I'll take that chance.
Yeah.
I would obviously I don't think y'all would either recommend somebody just jump into something that heavy or.
No,
I mean,
and typically if somebody's coming over to the house and they haven't smoked cigars but they want to smoke cigars, or even if I'm meeting somebody someplace and they want to smoke cigars, because this has happened a couple times, we have a meal first.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not going to have anybody sit down and have a cigar with me where food wasn't involved at least 30 to 45 minutes prior.
Is there a reason for that?
Yeah, because you're going to, if you're not a cigarette smoker, you're going to ingest some level of nicotine off of these. And if your body's not used to it, you're going to be out in the yard throwing up in the yard. And look, I'll give you a great example, and I don't mean to cut you off, Roy. But
no, you're good.
One of my cousins came over. He wanted to learn. This was when I still lived in Baton Rouge. He wanted to learn. He wanted to smoke cigars with me. So I was sitting out there and I was enjoying a Fuente Opus X.
Okay.
I don't know if you've had one of those, but
one.
they're a very full-bodied cigar. But I had two of them with me.
Very full.
And so my cousin said, well,
that's like a 5 on the full body scale.
Yeah. And he said, well, I'll smoke one of whatever you're smoking.
Yeah, let me have one.
Yeah, let me have one. So I said, and he's a big guy, and I said, all right. So I gave him one. I cut it, light it, and we're sitting there, and about 10 minutes in, he's like, he was pale, he was green, and he's like, I'm going to throw up in your yard. And I'm like, man, look, go in the house. And he's like, no, I'm not gonna make it to the house. And and so that was it. That was the end of his cigar journey. And so from then on, I learned, because I didn't know what he'd done before he showed up at my house. I had no idea.
How are you supposed to know?
Right. So just one of the little life lessons you pick up.
So I'm curious, being as we're bringing that aspect into the conversation. Do you have a certain food that you recommend, like food in cigar pairing? I know a lot of people do ribeyes and cigars, red meat cigars,
something heavy,
type of thing.
Something heavy. Pasta and cigars would be fine. Something heavy. Don't go eat a salad and then try and light up a cigar if it's your first one.
Because no good story ever started with somebody eating a salad.
No,
never.
No.
So, kind of in the same breath, is there a food that you feel you can eat or you would eat that would completely wreck your palate from tasting whiskey or bourbon?
Oh yeah. Thai food.
Thai food?
Oh yeah. If I go to Chaba or Sweet Basil in Beaumont, there's no way I'm having whiskey.
Yeah, because that's something that doesn't get talked about a lot.
Right.
Is there's foods like, in my case, like hot wings, buffalo wings.
Buffalo wings, yeah.
Don't ask me to come on this show and do
a tasting.
Yeah. if I've had hot wings because
Right.
my palate's gone. It's,
Your palate's
wrecked.
wrecked.
Yeah.
I'll drink it and I'll look at you and be like,
Yeah.
no.
No. Yeah. There's nights if I know I'm coming home and I want to have a cigar, it's going to change what I eat for dinner. Truly.
Because and I think, like I said, it's kind of something that's not talked about enough. If you're going to do a cigar or a whiskey tasting, be mindful of what you're eating and drinking that day because it will completely change your palate.
That's right. That's right. And look, once you get used to smoking cigars, I mean, look, if it's a Saturday, I could easily not eat breakfast, have a cup of coffee for breakfast with a cigar, and go right on into smoking more cigars.
Is there a breakfast cigar for you?
No, not really. You have one, Roy?
We
Go
know
ahead.
what Roy's is.
Alec Bradley Magic Toast.
Nice. I like it.
The Magic Toast, a nice cup of Death Wish.
I like it.
I love the Magic Toast. To me is that's that very versatile.
Well, let's continue that.
You
So,
can go coffee or full meal. You can go whiskey with the Magic Toast.
Are you like Buffalo Trace makes a bourbon cream?
Yes.
Are you somebody that can do bourbon cream in your coffee in the morning?
Absolutely. Not if I'm going to work, though.
Well, no, obviously not. No. But like, let's say it's a Saturday. Shut up, Roy. Don't do that. You drive for a living.
Yeah.
You would not. No.
None of us would.
On a Saturday morning, you wake
yeah.
up and you make a cup of coffee. You could do like a Buffalo Trace bourbon cream.
Oh yeah. And I'll tell you, Buffalo Trace bourbon cream is fantastic. Barton's bourbon cream is better.
I don't think I've ever seen Barton's.
So Barton's makes $17.92, and it's fantastic. And we bought it at the distillery. Matter of fact, I bought half a case of it.
Crap!
The last time I was there.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot of cream.
It's fantastic, and it's best if it's right in the refrigerator and you just pull it out. Oh, it's perfect.
Okay, so.
Matter of fact, Steph, if you're still listening, we need to put a bottle of that in the fridge.
Yeah, stick a bottle of that in the fridge, babe. So we've talked a lot about whiskey and cigars tonight. Whenever you walk into your house and you're looking at your whiskey shelf that we've all seen, and as my wife said, goals. If you immediately turn to your left, there is another shelf.
Yes.
Now I know there's a lot of rum on that shelf.
There is. There's other things.
Is there other things?
There are. There's some sipping vodkas. There's some sipping vodkas. There's an Icelandic vodka on there that's fantastic, poured neat. There's also a lot of sipping rums. So just like you can do nice single malt of this, really aged rum.
I tried one because I was curious because obviously that's what draws my attention.
Right.
But I did. I just happened to glance to my left and I was like, oh look, there's other stuff.
Yeah, and there's
But I know
gins.
there was what was there? I don't remember what rum it was, but it was like barrel aged. It was. So I don't.
Well, there's.
I couldn't tell you which one it was.
Okay.
I just happened. It was. We were pretty late into the night.
Okay.
At which point I was like, what is all this? There are other things
There
here.
are other things.
But I grabbed one that was like a barrel aged. It just piqued my interest.
Yeah.
So I did, and it was good. Obviously, for me, rums are very sweet.
Yep. Same here.
So-
And I have to be in the mood to drink a rum.
and that's
truly.
my thing. I got on a little bit of a rum kick for a little while.
Yep.
But yeah, it's just there's something there. So what is if you're not going to drink whiskey?
Let me tell you, there's one more thing on that shelf that's fantastic that I don't drink enough of, but I have it, and it's the Green Fairy, the absinthe. And I have some barrel. I have some barrel aged absinthe from
That's a thing?
Copper and Kings out of Louisville.
Do you have the absinthe
I don't.
dripper
the
thingy?
I need to get one of those, but no, I don't
Because
have
I know
that.
you're from Louisiana.
I am,
and that's like a big
that's
thing.
a big thing in New Orleans.
In New Orleans,
Yep.
is the whole dripper with the
ice cube and
ice,
yep. And but a good barrel aged absinthe or a barrel aged gin, don't sleep on those. If you see one, pick it up.
So where do you if you're not doing whiskey that night? What would you gravitate toward?
Some of my barrel aged gins, or maybe even a Scotch. I have some good peaty scotches. I like the stuff that tastes like a Band-Aid.
Oddly enough, and I've had it at your house too. I like the Empress.
Oh yeah, the Empress gin is fantastic.
Yes.
That purple gin.
Yes, purple gin.
That stuff is awesome.
That's a favorite amongst the ladies.
It is. It truly
But
is.
I feel it's good. I feel it's good because I had a little bit just straight.
I never. Well, I lied. I took a sip of Dana's.
The drink, the quote unquote drink me.
Yeah, the drink me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I will say that there's a gin that we found out of Norway called Beriksten's gin, and the bottle is charcoal black, and nothing like it anywhere else in the world. They make something in Norway called Aqua V. It's their version of whiskey. They take this clear moonshine that they make out of some sort of berry that they distill. They take the clear spirit.
Okay.
They put it in the hull of a ship.
Okay.
And then that ship goes out onto the ocean, and when it comes back in,
So it's kind of on the same premise of Jefferson's.
very similar, but it comes back in and it's kind of got a darkish color to it, and they call it the elixir of life. And it tastes like you're drinking licorice. And I brought a bottle of that back from Norway with me.
Interesting.
It's fantastic.
Very interesting.
Very different.
Very
different.
interesting.
Go ahead. You had another question. I didn't mean to.
No, I
interrupt
don't
you.
remember.
That's okay.
I don't remember.
I was all up in your business.
Yeah, it's all right. Now, something you did mention on, or y'all talked on earlier, the finishing of whiskeys.
Yes.
So, have y'all had any of these whiskeys that are finished in like the Pinot Noir barrels or
No.
the wine barrels?
Probably about the closest one for me is obviously Angel's Envy. It's done with the port.
So
I've
the
done
one
that
I'm
one.
most interested in, and I want to find a bottle, is Penelope's Tokai finish.
Yes.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
Tokai is like if I'm not mistaken, like a dessert
It's a
Hungarian
dessert. Yes,
wine.
right. That's right.
I really want to try it just because it's something so different. Like
Right.
excuse me, I've never seen anybody do anything in like a Tokai.
Barrel.
Because
Yeah.
what's funny is it got really popular on like TikTok, and everybody was like this Takaji finish, Takaji. What you don't understand it's Tokai.
Okay.
Everybody's pronounced that's how uncommon this is.
Well, because everybody's these days, like Scotch is starting to finish their stuff in Japanese wine barrels.
Okay.
Like, so like Glenmorangie.
Yeah.
They just came out with last year. They came out with a dessert Scotch, and it was finished in some sort of Japanese wine barrel, so that you get the Scotch notes.
Okay.
And that's why I was asking if John was going to
Yeah.
be here. I thought he might
Gotcha.
like it, but it's called a piece of cake,
Oh,
and
okay.
literally you taste the Scotch, but the finish is like all birthday cake.
Okay.
Because of this Japanese
Yeah.
crazy wine barrel finish.
So are you a Scotch fan?
I have to be in the mood for
Because
it.
we say whiskey we've
Right.
said whiskey all night long.
Yes.
Whiskey is a very broad umbrella.
Yes, very
It
broad.
covers everything from
Yes.
Irish whiskey to Scotch, bourbon, rye.
The Japanese are going into
Japanese
whiskey. I
whiskeys.
know we talked about one from
So,
Mexico,
I
think.
want
It was.
everybody-
That one's good.
The Absol-
Absol-
Yeah, that
I
was
haven't
good.
tried. I looked at it on a shelf, and
I
it's
keep
got the
looking at it
whiskey
all the
bottle.
time, too, yeah.
It's a pretty bottle.
Yes, very pretty.
but
And it's only like $35.
I haven't.
Yes.
I'm not sure how. I wasn't sure how it was going to taste.
I'm curious, and at some point I feel we need to do it. I'm curious on the Nika coffee.
Oh, that's
the
good.
coffee grain.
That's
Yeah.
good. I've had it.
Have
It's
you?
very good. Yeah. It's different. It's different. It doesn't taste like Scotch. It doesn't
Yeah.
taste like bourbon. It's
So
its own
kind
thing.
of going into
Okay.
the Scotch thing, because we talk about it all the time on the show. I can't. I don't like it. I've even had people try to tell me, well, you start with this one, and because you're a bourbon drinker, start with this one and just try. I've tried the Ardbeg. I think
Well,
we
you
did
gotta
on the show.
understand the wee
I've
beastie that
tried
we did is
the-
very.
Very peaty.
It's very peaty.
It's an Islay or Islay Scotch.
Yes.
Which Islay or Islay or however you want to say it, a lot of their stuff is peaty. If
It
I'm not
is.
mistaken.
It
That's
is.
That's
That's
kind
what
of the
they're known
peaty-
for.
right? And that to me is. I can't touch especially the peaty stuff.
So there's
but I've tried like Johnny Walker, and I've tried.
Even that's peaty. There's one out there called Brookladdick. Okay?
Okay.
And they make one. It comes in a Tiffany blue bottle.
Okay.
There is absolutely no peat in it, and it is. But understand, what you drink here. This is rye. The bourbons are
Right.
corn. Right. Everything they make over there is barley.
Right.
And barley has a different flavor.
Correct.
Than everything over
Yeah.
here, and so it's almost a more bitter flavor.
Yeah.
And so that's the difference.
Which is why I say it, and I know there's going to be people that are whiskey snobs or Scotch snobs or whatever, and they're going to argue the point all day long. What I said from the beginning, Balcones was the closest I'll ever get to drinking a Scotch.
Yes.
Yeah, with the
probably
pot
so.
stilled.
With the pot still, they do a single malt.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they do a lot of things that are very, 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 very close to what I would consider
Yeah.
Scotch.
And the Andalusia you
And the
probably
Andalusia
tried was probably very
is
close.
very close because even though we can't call it Scotch, a lot of what they're doing is Scotch based.
That's right. That's right.
So I mean, and I've said it. Balcones is as close as I'll get.
To you, I feel at some point, and I'm going to try and make this happen at some point, I would love to get your flavor profile on Lagavulin. And you smile, so
What are you thinking?
I'm curious because I know you know exactly what I'm talking about.
It's smoky, it's peaty. I mean,
See, and that's just it's the peaty.
But the reason
the
reason I say the smokiness because I know you're a fan of the Kentucky Fire Cure.
Right, I am.
So that's why I'm thinking in
But
my
that's what's
head, the
blows me away.
Lagavulin would be a good Scotch for you because it's peaty.
Yep.
But yet to me, it's more smoky than peaty.
It is.
So
because I could legit bring a box of Kentucky Fire Cured Mawats to Ryan's house, and we could sit and I could smoke a couple of them throughout the night.
Right.
But for me, I'd have to sit and enjoy a bourbon or whatever we pick off your shelf. But the second you put a peaty Scotch in front of me, I will spit it out like it's the worst thing in the world.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And I don't know why. I don't know what it is. But
I'd love to see you try one that's not peaty.
Not peaty.
Not peaty
I think that's a good.
And that's the other thing, and I don't know if you've seen any of them, but there's some bourbon companies that are stepping into this peated bourbon.
Yes.
I think is it Rock Hill out of South Carolina?
Well,
Rock Hill, Star Hill, something. There's one out of North Carolina, South Carolina that I saw. That's doing it. I'm sure you can name.
I've got one out of North Carolina that I bought out of Asheville, North Carolina, Oak and Grist.
Okay.
And they do their single malt is fantastic, but it's smoky. It's not that peat like we're talking about.
Right.
It's just a smoky flavor on.
I feel that would be
they
a good
aged
one
it.
for you too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Based off of that profile, I think
Yeah.
that would. Like I said, I've never had it, but to me, like, I know Lagavulin gets the big nod because of Nick Offerman.
Right, Lagavulin does the Nick Offerman, which
Yes,
I've
they
heard
do.
awesome things about it. Granted, I don't think I'll ever enjoy it, and I don't want to be biased like that. I don't, because we talk about whiskey on this show, and I try not to be, which is why I tried the Ardbeg whenever we had it.
Yeah.
But I just don't ever see myself enjoying something.
The Ardbeg to
like
me,
that.
now that I look back on that episode, that was probably a bad introduction to Scotch for you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I said, there's never been one that I've had that I enjoyed.
We'll have to
very much.
So
maybe
we'll do a little research.
and we can get recommendations, whether that's from Ryan or, maybe do a little bit of some deep dive on scotches for a bourbon drinker.
Yeah. And they have them out there. But Balcones does something different, and I'll be curious to see if and I can't remember the name of what they call it, but they do one where they smoke the barrel over tumbleweeds. Brimstone, that's
Yes,
it.
brimstone.
Have you had that
I
one?
haven't.
Okay.
I've heard it tastes like a campfire.
It does. It literally tastes like you're breathing in the campfire
I've heard
smoke.
it tastes like a campfire.
With the finish
So
of a...
I'm very
of a-
curious
of
of
a-
trying that one.
Yeah, it's very good.
Because I've had quite a few of the Balcones expressions, which they have a ton, which is awesome.
That's good.
But
Yeah.
the Brimstone, I'm very interested. It's a very dark bottle.
Yep.
It's a very dark whiskey. But yeah, that's one I'm very curious
Brimstone's
of
a good
trying.
one. Baby Blue, is it Baby,
Baby Blue was
Baby Blue's a
delicious.
good one.
That's straight corn.
Yep.
Yes.
True Blue is the other one.
True Blue
and True
is
Blue is so high proof that the ice sinks to the bottom of your glass.
Really? Did not know that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Heavy. You need a heavy meal to enjoy a glass of that. A true
Obviously,
heavy
we
meal.
enjoyed the Lineage. It won our
Yep.
last March Madness that we did.
I feel we're doing that again, by the way.
We definitely
this
need
year.
to do it.
I feel that's a good one.
So kind of going back to since we've all got a little bit of cigar left, kind of going back to the finish thing, one I've been kind of curious of because it's a very, very similar bottle and it's made by the same people. I'm sure you've had Baker 7,
Oh yeah.
but Legent,
Oh, Legion's good.
is it?
Oh
'Cause
yeah.
that-
I looked at that
So-
the other day.
Oh,
on
that's
the
a-
shelf,
that's
that
a
long
good
one.
bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, so it's Jim Beam.
Yes,
It's the master distiller at Jim Beam, I believe.
I believe you're right.
Okay.
And because it's Beam Suntory, it's the Japanese Suntory master blender or Master Distiller.
Yeah,
Distiller.
So they
right, yeah.
collaborated basically.
Yeah.
And it's basically bourbon and then, or Jim, whatever Jim Beam wants to consider themselves at this point. And then the Suntory side of it, it's theirs. And he brings in his finishing barrels and does his thing to it.
Yep.
So, and it's, I can't remember what it's finished in, but
Don't make me lie. It's something different.
Yeah.
It's
so
different.
I've heard mixed, and I was kind of curious if you've had it and
It's
what your
good.
thoughts on it are. I know I think we've talked
Hey,
about it.
John's watching. Fantastic.
Hey, John.
He likes the new
Yeah.
camera. We're all excited about the new camera.
Since John's watching, I did get it to pick up, so it is reading the actual camera now.
Okay.
We just need to fix it in Streamlabs.
Okay.
But the Synapse app that we have on here,
Okay.
it did finally pick it up.
Okay,
so
good.
I think we're good to go there.
We just had to coax it a little bit.
Yeah.
Had a lot of coaxing going on.
Sorry, got a little techie
No,
there.
you're good. Techie away. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
But no, the Legion is very different. The finish on it, it tastes like bourbon. When you nose it, when you taste it, but the finish is something different. I couldn't even begin to describe it for you, Bucky. It's sorry. It's it's just different.
Dang. Oh, so a question I do have. So with this whole finishing thing, I know a lot of companies call it like finished bourbon, but legally, I guess you can't call it bourbon. So one thing I was listening to another podcast, and he was talking about, he was doing a review of Woodford Reserve Double Oak.
Oh yeah, fantastic.
So
Yes,
here's my
Double Oak
question to
is-
you:
yeah, that's the way to go.
Is it still considered bourbon because they age it in new white American oak charred barrels, and then they finish it, quote unquote, in new American white oak barrels? It's not reused. It's not anything else. At what point does it not become a bourbon for you, I guess?
I think for me, it's if it goes into a barrel that is questionable about if it had something else in it. At that point, I don't think you can call it bourbon anymore.
So in theory,
If it's new, if the
Woodford Reserve's Double Oak
it's still bourbon to
would
me.
be a bourbon because they put it in
Another oak barrel.
new.
barrel,
Yeah.
yes.
It's not been previously used. It
Yep.
hasn't held bourbon
That's right.
before. It is another new American charred oak barrel.
Yeah. Now, the one thing I will say, the loophole is that if you think about it from the
The guy in the middle looks good on camera. We need him there more. I like it.
if you
Thanks.
if you think about it from the standpoint that the only criteria that bourbon has right now is that it has to be new white oak barrels on the initial fill. When it goes to something else,
It's no longer bourbon.
well, I don't know, because the rule doesn't say it can't be called bourbon. It just has to go into a new white oak barrel.
Well, it technically just has to touch charred oak.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, but
Because theoretically you could release your still and let it run down a trough made of
charred oak.
Charred oak wood.
Yep.
And it's bourbon.
And the second it gets to the end of it and it goes into a bottle, that's bourbon.
Right.
Okay.
Because it doesn't. There's no age.
Right.
There's no age requirement.
Right.
It doesn't have to technically be a barrel. It can be a cask. It can be, like I said, it can
Yep.
just run
A
down a
trough.
trough made of oak.
But the question is how many gallons down the still does that oak no longer oak no longer new?
That would be a very good question.
Now, I mean, it's the devil's in the details.
Or is it once I stop
I'm
it from
so
pouring?
glad he said that because I thought I was the only person that
Well,
ever
no,
said that in my
because-
life.
Oh, no.
The devil's in the details. I thought I was the only person that ever said
So
that.
that would be the question. So if I let it run for 30 minutes and I've got a guy down there switching bottles as quick as he can, he's like, time out, I need a break, and I stop the still. At that point,
Would you have to change the oak out
I'd have to change the oak out because it's had bourbon
on it previously?
previous.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's like I said, it's a slippery slope. There's no rules around this stuff.
and that's the funny thing about the arguments is, it's got to be made in Kentucky, or it's not real bourbon, or
First
there's so
rule
many
of Bourbon
arguments.
Club is you don't talk about Bourbon
bourbon,
Club.
yeah.
27-0 Silsby. Good job, guys.
Yay,
That's great.
Nice.
At half, that's
Good.
great.
At half.
That's great.
I actually drove through Smithville on my way
Oh,
back
yeah?
from Austin. Yeah,
Where is Smithville?
it's just on the other side of Bastrop on 71.
Okay, all right.
Is where it's
Don't
at.
keep going.
All right.
Okay.
We've been going for a minute. You know how this works.
Oh, I know how this works. Little feet, little bladder. Yeah, I get it. That's how it works.
What do you think of the cigar, Roy?
I love the cigar, man. It's good. It's airy. I like it. It's dark.
And it doesn't change.
No, it doesn't. It's the same from first third to last third.
Yep.
It's very true to what it is. It's a fantastic one. For my first time actually having this particular brand, I like it a lot.
Yeah. I think this is a good expression from Espinosa.
It's a very good one. I like it. That's the first Espinosa I've ever.
Oh man,
yeah.
Their Habano wrapper is fantastic. It has orange on the band, so maybe there's some inference, if you will, but I do taste oranges when I smoke
I can see where, because I know in the notes I had on the Buzzard Roost, it was supposed to be orange oil, orange peel, that type of stuff, and you get a very small hint of that.
Right.
Just a very small one. You get that citrus.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would be very curious on what we were just. So we were talking about another one by Espinosa that has a orange label, or orange band rather.
About half of what you do.
And Ryan and I had the discussion of, is that a little foreshadowing to the fact that it might have hints of orange?
So there's a lot of thought in the cigar industry about what color you put on the bands,
yes,
and whether or not that infers flavor profile.
Yeah. I could see that, because there's a lot of, because like the Magic Toast band in particular is real dark. It's kind of a midnight navy almost. It's very dark.
Yep,
I could see that, and it's a very dark wrapper as well. So I mean, I could.
Well, I think you got, if you look at it from a marketing standpoint, there's got to be some correlation with what is happening in, whether it's a cigar or a bottle of whiskey, and what you're putting on the label.
I don't disagree with you.
Yeah, the label.
And I know I brought them up a couple times, but I truly do love what they're doing right now. About 3 months ago, Penelope changed their all of their social media picture to an orange background with like a cream color white P, and it was a look ahead. Like they were saying, hey, we're coming out. They were like, hey, we're about to come out. And the whole VDN cask with their Penelope Valencia is very orange centric. Like instead of the peonies, they put oranges on the background.
No, to answer your question, John, nothing we've smoked tonight had a cedar band.
No cedar bands.
No cedar bands. No cedar bands at all. But this is a box press, so you would be would.
So I think,
like I said, John likes the box press.
And I did bring one for you, John. I didn't know you weren't going to be here. So
we didn't know until the last minute.
We didn't know until he had a prior engagement.
But I do think there's the marketing teams at these places have to take into account what you're doing.
Oh, absolutely.
Like they have to know, okay, this is a darker smoke, or this is it's going to be this flavor, so let's do this, or whatever the case. I mean, there's a reason that labels are going to all be different colors. Like they did kind of
an orange on it,
an orangish burnt orange brown for a toast.
Yep.
So I mean, things go into their marketing. I mean, it's got to be.
It's a mental thing. There is a mental game in this of sorts. Yeah. Well, that's the very first Jefferson Oceans that I bought. On the neck band, it said, look out for hints of salt. Well, if they hadn't
I don't believe that.
Well, if they hadn't said that, I wouldn't have been looking for it, right? But
so do you? And I hate that. But so do you get any kind of saltiness?
On that bottle, I did not.
From Jefferson's Ocean?
I do on Voyage 17 or 19. I get salt. Otherwise, no. And I've had almost every expression they've come out with.
Because you hear that on a lot. Like obviously diving into them, especially after I tried it at your house, I dove into the whole Voyage thing. And there was a lot of reviews or people that were, I get salted caramel and saltiness and then salt. No, you really like that, I don't think that's the point either.
It's not. It's a matter of what the motion of the ocean does to the actual cask,
allowing it to touch more surface area.
And churn a lot more.
Yeah. So I mean, but there's a big marketing thing in all of that.
And if you ever go to their place and tour their facility, they have a big shark hanging on the wall, and it shows how the casks are loaded, and they
play into it.
They play into it. They absolutely.
But I thought,
do.
And it's really cool that whenever we went to Front Porch, the dad, he actually knows the guy from Jefferson.
Yes. From Jefferson.
So that was pretty cool because he was watching Neat. I don't know if you've seen the documentary on Hulu. But he was watching. He was like, I know that guy. We did this and this together.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But That's pretty cool. But yeah, there's a ton of marketing that goes into it, and that's one of the big reasons I started here recently, over the last month or two, waiting until the end of what me and Roy are trying for the drink of the week, and that's when I read off from the website what they say your tasting notes should be.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I think they reach and they grasp on something. They fluff it.
Oh,
They
for
do.
sure,
Absolutely.
yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Now, there's some that are spot on.
Right.
Like, I get a little bit of some of what they say. There's some of them that are truly just, that is what it is.
Yep.
But I think there's a lot of fluffing. They make it sound good.
It's marketing.
It
It's
is.
marketing. I mean, they're trying to sell. They're trying to sell a bottle and be different from everything else on the shelf.
Right.
A little. I'll dive into a little bit of the marketing thing if you're interested.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious your thoughts on, because there's a lot of hate and there's a lot of love. Your thoughts on Buffalo Trace,
Okay.
the distillery.
I mean, I definitely like their original product, just the regular Buffalo Trace. I like Eagle Rare.
Okay.
I can tell a difference between those two products. You get beyond that. Not to say I can't tell the difference, but I think it's a lot of hype.
Okay. So something that's been circulating in the TikTok world is this whole marketing thing. So basically what they're saying is Weller, Special Reserve, Antique 107,
Yep.
and 12 year
I've seen these.
are all the same thing.
Yep.
They're just slapping a different label on it, upping the proof a little bit, da-da-da-da-da. And
not cutting it as much.
they're
Yeah.
creating a scarcity by putting a different label on it.
Okay.
Have you had the Weller lineup?
I
and
have.
What are your thoughts?
I think it all tastes the same.
Okay.
Truly, I think it all tastes, except for they make their cast strength product. I love it.
The foolproof.
The foolproof.
The blue label.
The other stuff, it all tastes the same to me.
Okay.
I mean, don't get me wrong; it's different proofs,
Right.
But the flavor is all the same. And I'm gonna do one better for you. Blanton's, to me, tastes just like the stuff that's in the Weller bottle. Just like it.
I think Blanton's is one of the most overhyped, and I love Buffalo Trace. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I like Buffalo Trace, and I like Weller Special Reserve.
I tend to agree with you on where you're going
but
with the
Blanton's
thing.
is one of the most overhyped and overrated whiskeys
Agreed.
on the market.
It is.
Agreed. There's head-to-head, and we could do this next time y'all come to the house, but head-to-head blind tasting, we did Blanton's versus another whiskey called Black Saddle.
Okay.
And it's a 12-year-old. It's bottled in California, but it's produced in Kentucky. Head-to-head, the Black Saddle won, hands down, with me and 3 of my friends.
Nice.
Okay.
And because everybody said, man, this one tastes old, this one tastes oaky, this one tastes more refined, and we were all shocked whenever it was not the Blanton's bottle, because
Yeah.
we were all thinking this was the Blanton.
No, and I'm glad you were on this week, and I'm able to ask that question with more than one person here, because I've mentioned it multiple times. I'm a Buffalo Trace fan. I've had the only Weller I've had is Special Reserve, just because there's a ton of markup in our area.
Yep.
With Antique 107,
Yep.
foolproof,
Yes.
single barrel. I even walked into a liquor store a couple weeks back, and they happened to have a single barrel and a CYPB in a case. And I, just out of curiosity, I was like, "Hey, bud, what are you asking for those two?" And it was $800 for the single barrel and $1,000 for the CYPB.
Oh, no.
MSRP on those bottles are about $50.
Yeah. No, that's crazy.
Sorry, sir, but I'm gonna walk out the door right now.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
crazy.
So I mean, it's nuts.
Yeah.
Like, I'd love to try more than just the Special Reserve, because I do like it, and
Yeah.
I've heard so many people say, "Oh, well, they just upped the Antique 107." It's
Well, I'm
just
sure
a little
you'll probably
stronger.
be able to try it in January when we go to the Southeast Texas Whiskey Festival.
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Sure, it'll be
Yeah, I'm
there.
sure.
Yeah.
Shout out to those guys, by the way.
Yeah.
They're
But I mean, I want to try them. Obviously, I'm curious to have all of them anyway on my shelf, just because I do like what they're doing.
So
But I do believe they're creating a scarcity by doing it that way.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. Now, I'm going to change. I'm going to stay on the same topic for you. Buffalo Trace makes a vodka, and I know you were a vodka guy. Did you ever drink their Wheatley vodka?
No, I've never had their Wheatley, but I did know they made.
It's
Wheatley.
very good.
Yeah.
It's very good if you were a vodka guy.
can't do
I may have to
like
try it. I've never tried it, but I did know they made the Wheatley vodka. Longhorn, since we've mentioned a couple times, they're releasing their barrel pick Buffalo Trace tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
I'm going to be there. I'm not going to lie to you. I'll be there at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Good.
Ready to grab mine. They've got Buffalo Trace barrel pick and a Sazerac rye.
Okay.
What are you? Do you have any thoughts? Have you tried the Sazerac?
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
No?
Being from New Orleans, I've had Sazerac where they say
Right,
it was
'cause that's
made.
the
and
drink. Like, that's the name of the
drink in
drink,
New
if I'm not
Orleans.
mistaken,
Yep.
Sazerac.
And I'm not a fan.
So have you tried any of their antique collection?
I have. I've had almost all of them. The Handy is fantastic.
See, and I've heard that's the worst one.
The year I had it, it was the it was the 2017 release.
Right.
The Thomas Handy was by far the shine for me. The William LaRue Weller that they release.
Okay.
I don't know.
See, and that's the one I was the most interested in because it just I gravitate toward the weeded
side. Right. Same here. But
so let's the tater question of the night, and if you don't know what a tater is, just
I saw it on your TikTok when you pulled out Buffalo Trace's body wash, and I'm like,
you wait in line for Buffalo Trace or all of their release. Anyway, it's a deal. It's a thing. It's funny, but. Have you had Pappy Van Winkle?
I have. I've had all the expressions.
All the expressions
before they were like hard to get.
Yeah.
I like Buffalo Trace way better than the Pappy expressions. The 18 Pappy 18? No, that's not right. Pappy 10. The Pappy 10 tastes good. Tastes like Buffalo Trace. Mm-hmm. The Pappy 23 tastes dusty. It tastes like salt.
Really?
It tasted musty. It didn't taste like bourbon. Maybe I had a cork bottle. I don't know, but it just didn't do it for me. Now I'll tell you, old whiskey, Elijah Craig 18.
What's the oldest whiskey you've had?
Probably the Pappy 23. Yeah.
Because I was just for fun. I was just looking around one of the online liquor stores, and they had I think it was a Suntory, but it was like a 55 year.
Oh wow!
And I was like, how do you even do that?
Yeah, I mean, somebody lost a barrel. I mean, that's the only way.
Well, I don't know. Like Macallan, I mean, to kind of switch gears.
Because in my head,
Macallan does a 40 that's.
You'd go to pull that bung, and it would just be like a moldy mess.
Yeah. But they've combined over the years.
Yeah,
they've combined.
But a 55 year just seems outrageous to me.
It really does.
Like why? And,
it seems.
Yeah.
And I think they were asking like $825,000 for it on this website, which I mean it's a secondary market thing, but that's something I will say is don't pay secondary market prices,
No.
and that's because you're screwing up the market for everybody. But don't go and pay $5,000 for a bottle of Pappy.
Well, but don't pay that, but also don't keep a bottle on your shelf or don't keep 20 bottles on your shelf for 30 years.
Right.
I mean, drink it.
That's what you buy it for.
Yeah,
they're made to enjoy.
Open it, drink it. Yeah. I mean, that $500 bottle, I opened it immediately and poured myself a glass.
Exactly.
Granted, it was regret, but nonetheless, it was, I opened it because I wanted to share it with my friends. And
So you literally can look at somebody straight in the face and say, I know what regret tastes like?
Absolutely.
I like
Absolutely.
It. I like it.
And look, I won't, to date, I won't spend over $200 on a bottle. And most you brought it up earlier, that $20 to $40 range. There's good bourbons in there. Yeah. $40 to $80 is probably where you start to get exceptional bourbon.
Yeah,
and you can find a lot in that $40 to $80 range.
I found myself really gravitating in that area, that $40 to $80.
Yep.
I mean, if you look at my whiskey shelf, you can pull up the picture on my Facebook. There's a lot in that it probably averages about $50 a bottle.
Yeah.
On
Same
average.
Here. Maybe 80 for if you're looking at my Jefferson shelf.
Yeah, there's some that are more expensive, but like my Penelope's, my Garrison Brother Honeydew, there's definitely some that are in that $70, $80 range. But on average, you're probably looking at $40-$50.
Yep.
And there's a ton of exceptional.
And I don't have regret when I spend that.
No,
because
definitely not.
Because even if I don't drink it all,
one I cracked the other night. I don't know if you saw it on my TikTok or not, but it was the Devil's River Distiller Select.
That's good stuff.
I was curious on your take on that.
Freaking good.
Because I know I kind of mentioned it a couple weeks ago, the whole Devil's River thing out of San Antonio.
Now I haven't. Don't get me wrong, and I probably screwed up the same way I screwed up whenever I tried the Balmorea. I started with what I would consider probably their best
selection.
expression.
Yeah.
So their Distiller Select was amazing.
I
Now,
hear
haven't
they're
had
just
anything-
regular, just their standard.
small batch. Their standard small batch.
I hear
bourbon.
they're doing good things with that.
I've heard great things about it, but I haven't had anything, and now I'm afraid to move down from.
No, it's good. Their regular offering is very
Like
good.
There's a reason why Drake coined the phrase "started from the bottom, now we're here."
yeah, I know. I need to learn that. Because it really screwed me up. But
You, sir, are not following by our credo on the shore when we talk about balling
on a budget. Is not happening.
No, not.
But I'll say this because you kind of mentioned it in the early part of the show. If you can get your hands on some Garrison Brothers, literally anything.
Garrison Brothers doing
It's
good
so
stuff. I love what they're doing.
The honeydew, I got it.
Yep.
The wife bought it for me she let me pick it out.
To me, just their regular
honeydew
just their regular.
have you had the honeydew?
I have. It's very good.
It's very, very it's a very enjoyable sit down and sip on it.
Yep.
It's delicious. Maybe I'll do it as a mystery whiskey one week.
Okay.
Well, something else
like I
you've
said,
had at my house, or at least your wife has had at my house, is the Buffalo Trace steeped in honey.
Oh, I don't think I tried that one.
I think I was there that night when she tried that.
And so it's literally I took a bottle of Buffalo Trace and poured it over honeycomb and let it sit for 6 months.
Really?
And then strained the honeycomb out. And you talk about over crushed ice.
Yeah.
Oh,
Delicious.
it's fantastic. It's delicious.
Interesting.
It goes down like candy.
But that's the thing that's kind of popped up a lot is the honey finish.
Yeah.
Pouring honey in a barrel,
Yep.
letting it sit, draining it, and then pouring your whiskey in it.
in it. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's
You have
There's
to have,
a lot of good
you
stuff.
have to do it to a sweet whiskey. You can't do that to just any old whiskey.
But yeah, I'll go out on a limb and say Garrison Brothers is probably my favorite.
They're doing some
Texas
good stuff.
whiskey right
They're
now.
doing some good stuff. I
Between them and Milam and Green.
Yeah.
I get that. I kind of go the Milam, especially the Milam Green that we had.
Yeah.
Well, see, and that's
On the
another
show,
problem
and
is we did this distillery.
Yeah,
select.
yeah, I
And
know.
Yeah.
You're starting from the top. You're not.
But I
Come
also
to the
too.
house. I have their regular bottle too.
I
So you just come
but
to the house.
they do a lot of different expressions. Like they have a
They do.
triple cask.
Yeah, which is very
that I was
good.
reading about too, which is
Yeah.
really interesting because you hear double oaked and double barrel all the time. You don't often hear a triple cask.
cask.
But to
Yeah.
me, man, I still go to the balcones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still
You can't
go.
go wrong with it.
You can't go wrong with anything. I mean,
But I
'cause
mean,
we've
even
talked
then-
about it before. The lineage is like $36, $35 a
Yeah.
bottle,
Yeah.
give or take.
Yeah.
So I get it.
And it's a
Believe
good
me.
starting point.
It's a very
It's a very good
it's a very
starting point for
one.
them.
I like the lineage. I'm good with that. Because, as a matter of fact, to me, a good pairing that I stumbled on was the Alec Bradley lineage with the
yeah.
Balcones lineage.
Oh, I could see that.
So
That'd
I
be
kept
good.
it with a lineage line on that one, and it turned out.
Interesting.
Yeah, it turned out good. I'm not gonna lie. I had good reviews on that one. I liked it.
Keep that in mind.
Yeah, it mellowed. They complemented each other very well.
Awesome.
So
Well, we've kind of hit the over 2 hour mark, which is one of our longer shows.
I saw that and I was
But-
like, has it
Wow.
really been that
I mean, you
long?
gotta love it. Like this is
I
what
know.
it's about.
Yeah.
Like sitting around enjoying what we're doing.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
good whiskey, good cigar. You can't go wrong.
Good
with
friends.
Yes.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Yes.
It. So I mean, if you got anything you want to add, you want to ask,
No,
you want to.
I'm good. I'm
You good?
Yeah. Yeah. This has been
Roy?
fun.
I'm
got
curious.
anything?
Do you have a last call? The last call's normally my thing, but I mean,
no, go, man.
okay,
Go.
I got you.
All right, we ready? Because I'm
Sure.
gonna have to do it. So if you want to take your headphones off, now's the time.
I keep them on because it actually kind of muffles it.
All right, you ready?
At least for me, it does.
Last call for alcohol.
When you enjoy good things, it helps to enjoy good things with good people.
I like that.
So,
Salute.
absolutely.
Well, I can't thank you enough for joining us.
Oh, no, this is fun,
This
guys.
has been awesome.
This has been a long time in the works, too.
It has.
We've been,
It has.
I
We've
know
been talking about this
you
for
mentioned
months.
it. Roy's been working on
Yeah.
you for a
Yeah.
while to get on here. So we can't thank you enough. I know not everybody wants to be in front of a camera with doing this kind of thing. So we really do appreciate you coming on.
Oh, for sure.
And answering stupid questions and talking whiskey and cigars with us.
That's been great.
It's been a really good Gentleman's Friday.
It really
Yeah.
has.
Yeah.
Very
Don't
good
forget,
one.
check out our merch, functionyourway.live.
Yep.
Thank you for being our first purchase.
Yes.
Absolutely.
That's awesome that you just so happened to have the first one out in the wild. That was really cool to see. But check it out. We've got some good stuff. We've got our Thanksgiving sweater and shirt.
Yeah,
Because you never know if it's going to
came
be.
up with a sweater.
Oh, wow.
You don't know if it's going to be hot or cold. It's Texas.
It's Texas, right?
So it could be hot, and you can wear a T-shirt, and it could be cold, and you can wear a sweater.
Yep.
We'll have Christmas stuff out shortly because everybody jumps right into Christmas.
Excellent. Good.
And I may try to do a little bit of a Black Friday sale. I may reduce some stuff.
Okay.
So y'all pay attention to that. Check out, we talked about it earlier, Southeast Texas Whiskey Festival.
Yes.
Coming in January. It's coming up quick.
Yes, very quick.
Check out our Facebook page because I posted a little bit of a promo code on there. Just
I saw that.
Don't tell nobody.
I was interested in that. I'm like,
You'll get 10% off your tickets if you haven't purchased them yet.
Nice.
We want to see everybody out there. We want y'all to have a good time. We'll be out there. Come see us. So
we're not going to be hard to spot neither. I'm gonna go ahead and tell
you'll see us pretty quick.
You'll see us pretty quick.
But as always, hashtag function your way, hashtag the functional gentleman, hashtag for the fans, hashtag third monkey.
You got to go with third monkey.
You always got to go with the third monkey. We've got a third monkey tonight. As always, y'all have been great. You've been great. You've been awesome. Love you guys. We'll see you next week.
Have a good night, everybody.
Have a good night.
My tongue get what I deserve. Trendsetter, I got style for you. Ain't seen you at the top, it's been a while for you. Big you up and they look down on you. Take one loss, no one's around for you.